Shift it over.
Yo, and what is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the next podcast, guys. I know I say this every week, but I am really excited for today's show. You know, when you look back at the gaming news throughout the week, you know, there really wasn't much to talk about. But me, the panel, and the special guest, you know, we came together and we were brainstorming, and I think we came up with some really good topics, things to talk about, you know, because even in a slow news week, there's always something to talk. Who am I kidding? Guys, we are talking about the PlayStation 5 reveal today, and I am really excited. Before we get into it, guys, you know the deal. YouTube, they don't like to do their job. They don't do it as well as they should. I think we can all be honest and state that. So, if you can, just share this out on social media, wherever you go to talk games with people, whether it's Twitter, Facebook. If you like what you're seeing so far, if you like what you're hearing, definitely hit that thumbs up button. Let people know that we are live right now. Holy crap. Shout out to my brother, Wilmy Hood, the first person tonight to hit up that super chat. Thank you, bro, for the support. He says, I am just here to watch Mel call you a fraud, sir. LOL. Dude, did you see that thread on Twitter? Like, she had a lot of people going. She had a lot of people. Nobody knew. There was so many people didn't know that we were married. It was hilarious. Yo, Wilmy, thank you so much for the support, brother. But yeah, we're going into it. We have a special guest. We're talking about the new console reveal, new game trailers. It is about to go down tonight. So let's get into the intros, and it is my pleasure to welcome back, basically after a 1 week hiatus, you know, in observance of what is going on in the world, which I definitely wholeheartedly support this man. But he is back, coming live from the 405, and you know, he's only trying to talk to the intelligent gamers out there. My brother K-Mega, what is up, bro?
What's happening? Next podcast family, man, good to be back. I needed the break. It was just an intense week last week. I just couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? I know that you had some good guests on, and I, you know, and that was a first timer to come on, and I didn't want to be like, you know what? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, great point, Mooch. Black Lives Matter. I didn't want to do that. So I was going to say, I just didn't want to do that. So I just said, hey, let me just sit back, chill, be cool, and then just let it ride. But y'all had a great
after
show,
Mooch
man.
says something, you'd be like, yeah, and your white privilege. Like,
yeah, white privilege. And then I don't even know what the color the other guy was. Yeah, white dude. We'll give a fuck. Anyway, so great show that y'all had last week, but no, I had to just take the break. But I'm glad to be back, man, to talk about this gaming news and hashtag bud sex or snacks. Is it sex or snacks?
Bud sex.
I don't know. Is it snacks? Is it snacks or sacks?
Snacks. Yo, they're
snacks.
eating
Okay.
that. Oh my goodness, we're getting into it already, man.
All right. Anyway, good to be here, man.
Nice. Yo, next on the list, my brother from the West Coast, and I had to let him know that I adopted him as my brother. I never let him know before time. But yo, seriously, absolutely love having this man on the show. And of course, I am talking about my brother, Dark Optimus. What is up, bro?
I feel very violated that you adopted me, dude.
Yeah. Dude, I will let you know the line was not long for that adoption, by the way. Like I was
know,
literally,
man, it was just like you were like right at the front, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and the reason why K Mega wasn't here last week is because he didn't want to see black on white crime. He wanted to see white on white crime. That's what he wanted to see. So,
well, that's why he should be here. That's where this is where he sees white on white crime like all the time. You know?
No, but it's great to have K Mega back this week.
Thank you.
Definitely looking forward to getting into these topics, man.
Nice. And let's see, next on the list, you guys, I think we're finally chipping away at the foundation, but a lot of people out there still know this guy as a hardcore Gears fanatic. But guys, he plays other games, especially Mortal Kombat. My brother Crispy, what is up, bro?
Oh, I got a couple friendships coming out soon. I don't know when I'm going to
Oh.
reveal them, but yeah, I got a bunch of random friendships that I was like, oh shit, I actually did that. And yeah, when I wasn't intoxicated last night, I kind of messed my girl up pretty good, and she had some salty parts to her at that point. But in all seriousness, it's always great to be here. Yeah, we don't care about that West Coast thought. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, Crispy, whenever you're talking about your girl, you should probably never say salty parts as well, like within that whole thing, because we are talking to the gaming community, and I know imaginations will wander sometimes, bro.
Well, I like to make my imaginations wander. Yeah, there you
go. Nice, man. Well, I know you're not gonna be afraid to share your opinions today. It's a pretty big show. The topics, you saw on Twitter, people have gone after me all day on Twitter for speaking the truth. We're going to get into that as well. I think it's going to be a good show, and I can't wait to hear you chime in, brother.
Absolutely, man. Let's do it.
Let's do this. Let's see. Next on the list, is it time for the best? I got through the rest, right? So it's time for the best. Shout out to my brother Predator who can't make the show this week. His daughter is having surgery. It's a pretty major surgery, so shout out to Predator and his family. We wish the best. We know everything's gonna work out fine, but we're in Pred's corner. We're in Pred's daughter's corner as well, so shout out to Pred, who won't be making it this week, but we do have a special guest, and I can tell in the chat all the Dreadites are circling this show right now live. Not only that, I think they're circling my apartment as well. Once again, we get blessed by our brother Dreadpool. What is up, bro?
Not much. How's it going, everybody? I do have a question though.
What'd I
Who's
do?
eating bug sacks?
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Oh no.
And while we're there, does the relevant get to call Snaps mommy? Is it like mommy Snaps?
No.
Okay.
Well, I adopted him as my brother, not my son. Like I'm not,
So it'd be sister-in-law.
Sister-in-law. Okay. Well, okay. So
I'm not taking that income hit, man. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Well, you see, the thing is, my imagination never wanders. Mine always squirrels. Okay.
I mean, you could have a 31-year-old dependent,
That's
Just
what I was
saying.
saying. I'd be fine being someone's dependent, no problem. I'll stay at home, no problem. I'll even wear Depends if I have to.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
Wow. Well, if you're 31, you got about 20 more years, and you might be rocking that garb right there.
Oh
man.
no, he's got to catch up to me another. Let's say over 15.
Well, Dread, as always, man, I consider you an extended family member. You are a part of the next podcast. It is always good to have you on, and it's a pretty big show to have you on as well. I know you're going to share your thoughts and opinions. We were talking off air. You saw what was going on my Twitter timeline as well.
Yeah.
So this is definitely going to get interesting. Thank you for being on, and we got to get into it. But first, I do have a super chat here by Midway Monster. Thank you for the support, brother. He says, have a code of Game Pass Ultimate to drop. Brother, that is really awesome. Guys, I guess we are dropping a Game Pass Ultimate code. Midway, if you want to do it yourself, you can share it, in the chat when you feel it's the right time. When you feel like it's the right time, you could drop it in there. If not, if you want me to do it, send me a DM on Twitter. Hit up the chat and let me know that you did that, and I'll put it out there at some point in time. Either way, we can work together, man. We can work together. But let's get into it. And before we get into the PS5 reveal, what I think it was CNBC came out with an article about Warner Brothers Gaming, and basically AT&T is looking to sell off the development studios within Warner Brothers Gaming. And it from the article, it said that Activision and Take-Two were interested in acquiring these. Now, from what I'm seeing, I think they're asking about $4 billion, which is No small amount of money. But with that, I mean, you're getting like NetherRealm, you're getting Monolith, you're getting Rocksteady in terms of studios. So I'm going to go to our special guest first. It's something we do here. So Dreadpool, what do you think about this news? Warner Brother games are for sale. I don't think it's the IPs though. It's just the development studios. You got Take-Two looking at this. You got Activision looking at this. You know, what do you think is going on here? Do you think one of those two are going to take it? What do you think about what would be the benefit of acquiring these studios? You know, if you don't get the IPs as well. But just share your thoughts on this, man. What do you think's going on here?
Overall, it's going to be a sad day in history for gaming. That's
Really?
basically it. Yeah, you know, it doesn't matter who gets it. I have a feeling that depending on who gets it, a lot of these studios may close. They're probably, obviously, we talked about the IP not being transferred over, so they may finish the game, but that's it. So they may not have anything to work on. So with that many developers out there, there's a lot of questions up in the air for this. So that's really what stems is we got to figure out what's going on, who really wants it. I mean, there's a lot of favorites out there that we want them to get and take care of it, but yet again, who's getting the IPs?
Yeah,
so that's really what we want. We want the devs to still have a job, but we also want the IP so we can play these games.
Well, another thing, Dredd, that, you know, when I kind of read this and put it in as a topic, if you look at it, Activision and Take-Two, like, you know, when it comes to NetherRealm Studios, I don't trust either one of those publishers with that development studio. You know, they are all microtransaction. You know, Take-Two, they own 2K. Am I right?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right. So, you know, when it comes down to it, I don't like the options here, man. Do you think that there's another company that could come in and you know, put down that $4 billion, man?
Yeah, I have a favorite company that I'm going to say that it should be Xbox, but
I thought you were going to say Sony, man. I don't.
No, well, yes, they could too.
Okay.
But you know, reality. Let's say Xbox, right? So if Xbox does it, you know they're going to keep it to themselves, and for at least the studios. Any new IP that they come up with is going to go to themselves. If they retain those games that they're working on, and for the future, you know, let's say Mortal Kombat 12 through 15, whatever, I still see them keeping it as a multi-plat. You know, they seem to be doing that. The other thing is, we were talking about earlier that, you know, should I go there?
You go where?
With
just
green versus blue.
Green versus blue. Yo, dude,
you know what I mean.
This is your time.
We'll go there.
Time,
okay,
man. Like, do what you got to do.
So we were talking about it would be kind of cool if it ended up being that, let's say, Master Chief was on Xbox and it was cross-plat, and Locke was on PlayStation.
Oh.
So, but no, it'd be kind of cool to see somebody actually get it and keep it going. I mean, remember when Midway went under? And nobody knew what was going to happen with Mortal Kombat. It was up in the air. You know, we're going to run into this same situation again. We don't know who's going to get it, and it could be bad. We've had how many games, IPs that go out there that ended up going nowhere. You know, they just sat there. And then you had THQ Nordic, which wasn't really THQ, but they took the name on and they started buying the IPs again. So we may see something like that happen again. So we might not see our beloved IPs for years.
I got you, brother.
I mean, if Xbox gets it, great. If Sony gets it, great. But we need to make sure that these multi-platforms stay multi-platform, no matter who gets it. And hopefully none of these studios close down.
I hear you. Now, like, I will let you know, and I'm going to get the rest of the panel involved. I just want to throw this out there for you, Dredd, for the panel, and for everybody in the chat. One of the downfalls that I see to this, if these studios are acquired, right, but without the IPs, then when it comes to NetherRealm and you know, Rocksteady, if they were planning on making another Batman, but I'm really mainly thinking about NetherRealm here. If whoever owns them puts them on another project or keeps giving them different projects and they don't get to make like another Mortal Kombat or something like that, that would be a huge disservice, in my opinion. as well, because with Mortal Kombat X going into Mortal Kombat 11, like I would venture to say that Mortal Kombat is probably the most popular fighting game out there. And when another company buys them, they might not think in that same realm. They don't own the IP, so why should their development studio make more of that game, more like sequels, more content, stuff like that? And that's where I really feel like, oh damn, like I don't know, I really don't know about this news. But
Yeah. And then you got Injustice. What happens there? You know what I mean? So yet again, those are IPs that could end up vanishing forever, if not, certain ones, like we said, Mortal Kombat, maybe coming back again like it did before. But Injustice may just vanish forever.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna open this up to the panel, and I'm gonna go to K Mega. Like, I missed hearing him on this show, so like I gotta go to K Mega on this. Now, first off, Mega, you heard what Dredd said. I'm gonna go into the camp of, because it's $4 billion and it's not, not necessarily owning the IPs that the studios have made so far or whatnot. I'm not thinking Microsoft at this point in time. You know what I'm saying? I like, unless the IPs were in there, then it would be a little more, that $4 billion be like, oh, that's a little bit of a sweeter issue there. But what do you think about this news? And with this, like, gaming is blowing up so much. Why do you think AT&T is deciding that they want to get out of this space? It makes more money than movies, like with the theaters, DVDs, all that stuff. Makes more money annually than the movie industry. Like, why the hell would they be wanting to get out as well, man?
Well, because for one, since gaming is such a big platform right now and it's doing well, everything else that you was just talking about with movie theaters also is doing horribly because of the pandemic. So they could be looking at wanting to cut some costs, wanting to cut some things so they can save a couple of things, and knowing that gaming is where it's at, they can bring that money over to save some of the things that they might
and sell it at a high point.
Okay. Right. Yeah, because that's the only reason why I could think of it, because we know AT&T is a huge conglomerate. But with the game situation, I mean, it could go anyway. I was saying last night, because we talked about this damn near the whole show on TRG last night. The possibilities. If I know this is going to sound crazy to a lot of people, but I think that this, if anybody would get it, I would hope that EA would get it for this reason alone. Because it would they could have a second opportunity to brand their image, to get back to the good graces of the gamers. Since Vincent Pella's been coming in here, they've been doing a good job. They still are EA. I mean, the stuff with Madden and all that stuff is still foul. But if they do get those developers to come over and then they bring it, we definitely know that those games are going to come back. If it goes to 2K, we don't know if all those games are going to come back. THQ, I have no idea. I don't see. I don't know. That's the thing. I know with EA, all those games would definitely have a chance to come back. Activision is the least one I want them to get their hands on this franchise, on all of these games, on any of these franchises, because I could just see Mortal Kombat right now. Oh man, you want this character? Yeah, this, and then it would be sick. It would be sickening. I would not even want to do it. And then the one other possibility could be is that whoever would get those would pay the money to get it. There could be, like, Ed Boon might pack up and go, and then that could be a great opportunity for either Sony or for Microsoft to get it. Now, of course, I'm going to have to go into my dream scenario, but if that would be the case, to where some of these developers would go and do their own thing, I would hope that Microsoft would look very hard at trying to get Ed Boon to join Xbox, and then knowing that Killer Instinct is right there waiting for him. Bring us that, do that. Have NetherRealm do Killer Instinct. It would be a godsend, because then you have. You have the people that are still there that has worked on Killer Instinct, and then you got Ed Boon's genius in his studio. Oh my God, the possibilities. And then it would come to, like, with Batman, I don't know, man. Like, it would be bizarre. it is hard to believe that they want to get rid of all these great games because people have been
Well, no,
begging
they
for a
want
new
to. They want to
Batman.
keep the games, but they want to sell the developers. They want to keep
Well,
the
no,
IP.
yeah, I know that, but that's another thing. Like, who is going to be making these games though? So if they're going to sell off the, sell off the studios, that's crazy to me. So obviously there's got to be some kind. I know there's got to be a lot of red tape going on behind it, and it's way past my pay grade because I have no idea how this is going to work. But somebody, it's worth the $4 billion for sure with all the franchises, but then again, maybe they look at it and say like a game like Hitman just isn't generating enough money. I have no idea. I mean, but we look at games like Shadow of War. You got Scribble Knots. Of course, you got Injustice. You got the the Lego games. You got games that's on mobile. You got all different types of stuff that they have. Man, it's insane. So. I don't know. Only thing I know is that they're still working on Injustice 3, so that will come out. Mortal Kombat will have its final DLC coming out here pretty soon. Then Mortal Kombat's in limbo, and then of course, there's rumors of a Batman coming, but that's going to be the last Batman until somebody else does it. And then if they, like I said, who's going to work on those games? Because the way Rocksteady has done Batman. Why would you get rid of that studio? Like, I don't know. It's crazy to me. So,
dude,
it's confusing.
It sounds like this news kind of surprised you, man. Like, yo, what the hell is going on?
It did.
Here?
It just threw me completely off. I mean, I think they got Mad Max too. I can't remember if Mad Max is a part of WB as well.
Yeah, Iron Mike just put that in the chat too. Mad Max was.
Did he?
So
I'm not
underrated.
looking. I'm not looking at that. I was trying to go and type in and look at all the games that they have. But yeah, like that is crazy. Like. I don't know. I just would know that I would love to see Xbox be a player with somebody. I mean, of course, for me it would be NetherRealm. But I mean, for if Xbox could somehow, get
Xbox grab Monolith, buy the Fear franchise, and reboot that shit. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if they get Monolith, they could do Fear and they could do Shadow of Mordor. I mean, because that was like a third party partner for them. I mean, they paid for the money to be a third party, advertisement thing for them or whatever. I can't talk today for some reason. I'm thinking of Bug Snacks, but it's just the thing of like, I don't know.
Eat a strawberry. Eat a strawberry. You'll be cool.
I think I'll be fine. But regardless, I just think it would be fantastic. If they could split off and then Xbox can get a hold of somebody. If Sony gets a hold of somebody, that'd be good because that they will be taken care of. But with the IPs, I have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah, they want to keep those, man. Residual rights and all that good stuff.
I couldn't see Mortal Kombat being made by anybody else.
No,
like that's the thing. That's like, to me, it's kind of like, all right, you could get these studios, you can get all these studios. And then they could just go ahead and make games that you want. But then now we got a price for each one of these IPs if you want. Because I just don't see it. And also, one more factor. Another player that could be involved is Amazon or Google. Yeah. They definitely have the capital. And I could see them taking care of it and even trying to maybe buy that whatever IP that goes.
If Google
with
was smart,
well.
they would they need to shell that out right now.
That would or even Epic could make a good deal with somebody or whatever. But I don't know. It just seems weird. If Take-Two or Activision, even if, like I said, I would hope EA would be the one to get it, but I don't know, man. It's got me confused.
Dude, yeah, man. Like I said, man, I don't hear you like too many
confident,
times.
Yeah,
I don't hear you like this too many times, man. Where you're like, yo, dude, I have no idea what the hell they're thinking. I
have no idea what the hell is going to happen with this.
Dude, and like I said, like when it comes down to it, with the IPs not being in the mix, I think that's the curveball right there, because like then you're gonna buy a studio, but you're still gonna have them make the game that they, the sequel to the, the franchise that they've been working on, but then AT&T is getting money right off the top of that still, and they got your $4 billion. Like, business wise, it's like, that doesn't even make sense, man.
No, I don't. And I think a lot of devs would leave though if they would go to a situation where they don't think that they would they would thrive.
It's funny that you say that, because shout out to Jez Gordon from Xbox 2 podcast. I watched that pretty much every week before this show. And Jez was like, when it comes to Microsoft, what they're doing now, he's like, I don't really think they're looking into acquiring studios, but what they're doing is they're poaching developers from other studios and bringing them under Microsoft's first party. That's what they're doing right now. So when you said that whole Ed Boon thing, and I'm pointing to the left of me, like K Mega's sitting right there. When you said the whole Ed Boon coming to Microsoft thing, I was like, you know what? According to Jez, that could be plausible. And what they would do is they would just poach developers that wouldn't be happy with that acquisition, and they would be like, yeah, no, come on over to Obsidian. No, we need more people at Playground. No, oh yeah, the Initiative, they're still looking for people over there. They would just start grabbing developers from that whole situation, man.
Yeah, and then it would be a fresh start for them. And then if and this is my last point. I'm sorry, but I just want to say this. And if somehow, let's just say Ed Boon would go over to Microsoft or whatever, and then they would do work on Killer Instinct, and then that would be a fresh start for Ed Boon and whatever he's doing. And then if Xbox would decide to want to get the Mortal Kombat franchise, try to get that franchise away from AT&T, make Mortal Kombat a multi-plat. There's, you know what I'm saying, recoup that money back, because people will still buy Mortal Kombat. Yeah. I think that would be a smart idea. But of course, like I said, I don't know how that money goes. I don't know what the red tape is involved, but I'm definitely going to start looking more into it.
See, and real quick, and I'm gonna go to Dark next anyway, but just want to throw that out there. When it comes to Microsoft in terms of buying studios, I feel like, when it comes to multi-plat franchises or whatnot, I can honestly see Microsoft saying no, they'll stay multi-plat. They bought Mojang, and Minecraft stayed multi-plat. But what that will do is that franchise, the next iteration, previous iterations would all go into Game Pass. You know what I'm saying? Because they and I can see them doing that and basically doing what they're doing, and what I think they're going to do even more, leading up to the Series X, kind of released into the world, promote the shit out of Game Pass. I could see them doing that as well. Let's go to Dark. Dark, you've been kind of quiet, man. I'm not used to that. What do you think about AT&T, looking to sell off Warner Brother Games? You got Take-Two, and you have Activision kind of setting up to try to be the ones that have the most interest here. What are your thoughts on this whole thing, taking the developers and possibly taking them out of franchises like this, man?
I think this is the worst thing to ever happen to gaming.
Worse than E.T. on Atari?
It's probably even worse than that.
Whoa!
Because Mortal Kombat is probably one of my favorite franchises in the fighting realm, and if this goes to another studio or something like that, that's gonna be really bad. And if it goes to 2K or Take-Two and Activision, it's going to be even worse. It's going to be riddled with microtransactions. It's going to be riddled with loot boxes. It's going to be riddled with a bunch of shit we don't fucking want. We don't care about that stuff. What we care about is playing the game and getting the experience out of the game. We don't care about all that other bullshit. I mean, yeah, granted, there are whales out there that will spend money upon money to get the best skins, the best this, the best that, all that crap. But for the majority of gamers, we're not gonna spend that much money, on something like that. We're just we might spend a few bucks here and there on a skin that we like or things like that. But we're not gonna, I just don't want it to turn into that type of, those type of games. And then, even with Batman, if they take Batman and make that into riddled with microtransactions and all that shit, it's gonna be like, oh my god, dude, it's just gonna get worse. It's just gonna get worse, and it's not going to be good for the consumer at all.
This is quite
Like,
possibly.
it'll be good for the company.
This is
but-
definitely bad news, bro. This is definitely.
Yeah, it is.
Like, it's something that I did not see coming. When it comes,
I don't think any of us did.
When it comes down to it, so many franchises, so many quality games are kind of like they're hanging in limbo now because, you know, AT&T is like, yo, we're gonna sell high and we're gonna fix our company with this $4 billion or whatnot, man. I don't know. I don't like it, man.
Because AT&T is going into the trash because their internet service sucks. Their other services suck. Their cell service sucks. It's all this other shit that's and they think that $4 billion is gonna help them. It's not. That eventually,
Help me.
I think honestly, I think AT&T will be gone eventually. I just have a feeling that they won't be around for a while. Because I mean, look at companies like Verizon and things like that. They're really, honestly, in the cell phone market, Verizon's the one that's killing it the most.
Yeah, but I have Verizon and my service sucks, man. I'm just saying.
It's everybody sucks. Like even Sprint sucks. You know, like T-Mobile sucks. You know, like you're gonna have issues with any cell service, but you know, it's the companies that really give people the best deals that are really thriving, and AT&T does not do that. They just don't. So them selling off, you know, their game division, I think is the wrong thing to do. I think what they should do is focus on their game division with the Warner Bros. Games and get rid of some of the other stuff that they're not so much good at, you know. And I think I don't know, man. This is gonna be bad, dude.
Dark,
This is gonna be
I'm
really
scared,
bad.
Dark. I'm
Scared.
I'm
You
scared.
should be.
Because when it comes down to it, one of my favorite gaming franchises is under Warner Brothers, and it's called Fear. And if you follow me on Twitter, you see me, you know, maybe once a week or so bring up Fear on Twitter, and you know, kind of try to get Xbox to do maybe some backwards compatibility or something like that. Get those games on back compat. Or I absolutely love the Fear franchise, and I'm scared now, man. I'm scared for that franchise and any ability to have that game come back.
I'm scared for Batman. I'm scared for all the games, all the beloved WB games that we have gotten to know and love. It's like even Injustice, like I love that game. Like it's kind of the redheaded stepchild of the fucking of Mortal Kombat, but it's still a fantastic game.
Dark,
I'm playing it right now.
Dark, Brian Baker said that AT&T's net worth is $266 billion. He said they're not going anywhere.
No, they got old money. They
got old money, but you know what? That's the thing. Money. A lot of companies like that fall because they do stupid shit like this, and I'm telling you right now, it's not gonna be good for any of us at all. We're just gonna be sitting here missing franchises that we love and miss, you know, and that's gonna suck.
Yeah, yo,
what are we gonna get? You know.
Shout out to Christopher Hart real quick. Brother, are you trying to say that game Bug Snacks is trash? Are you trying to say that Bug Snacks is not going to be a good game? Christopher Hart? I need an answer in the chat, bro. Yo, Crispy is up next. What up, Crispy?
What's up?
What's up, brother? What do you think about this AT&T selling off Warner Brothers? You got Activision, you got Take-Two. Two sharks in the water. They're circling this whole thing, man. What do you think about this situation, bro?
AT&T at this point is approaching bankruptcy because the stock market has crashed for the most part, especially in realms like they are. They're trying to sell off assets, and you know, one asset that they don't see like fits in their narrative, because you gotta remember AT&T bought this, you know, when they were thinking it was going to make them money, and it's not making them enough money.
Oh,
and
just like when they bought Singular.
Well, and you think about it, like a lot of companies make some stupid investments and they move on from them, and regardless of how great some of these awesome IPs they have, clearly $4 billion is not what the actual games and IPs and studios are worth. It's worth more, and I have an inkling that somebody's going to swoop in and say, if you give us this all, we'll give you, $50-100 million. Because if you look at it this way, there's a lot of games that they have that hit all types of genres. Lego, Batman, single player. Lego is more of like a kid's game type thing that, even adults can enjoy. You have a fighting game like Mortal Kombat that has literally like spanned our entire gaming existence for some of us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the one thing I say is that everybody's, Take-Two, Activision, all these people would probably just destroy it, pay the $4 billion and call it a day. But you got companies like Amazon, Google, and Microsoft that could literally say, here's $100 billion. We will buy everything. We get all the licenses and everything else. And especially Microsoft, I know that they would probably release it multiplat and not care, because we've seen it with Minecraft. And Minecraft is so successful for them that I don't feel they would alienate the devs themselves. I feel like they would keep everybody intact and try to just support them. And I feel like that's where Microsoft's going. You know what I mean? That's why I feel like the games we're going to see in July are going to be awesome, because I feel like they're just out there to support the devs' creativity and make it even better than what they were able to do
make
before.
that money as well. Like,
well, I mean, but that's what it comes down
to.
But that's what it comes down to. But you have a game like Mortal Kombat X that's been on Game Pass for a year, something like that. I mean, it's been there for a while.
Yeah.
Okay. It literally supersedes all fighting games on Game Pass right now by almost double, as far as just people ranking it. And it has 4 stars and it has 1,000 people that have ranked it. Plus, I don't think they go past 1,000 at this point. But then you have Jump Force right below it at less than 400 people ranking it at 3 stars. So people are playing the game. I'm hearing through the grapevine, through some Reddit type post or Reset Era, that Phil is taking this seriously and he's going to talk to them. So I don't know if it comes down to money, because if you think about it, Microsoft has the money. If he gets Satya on his back, he could say, let's do this. You know what I mean? And at the least, get NetherRealm, get Monolith.
Thank you for throwing Monolith in there, man. I appreciate that.
Get whoever the Lego is. No, it's not the Lego dev and the Shadow of Mordor dev. Okay, get those.
That's Monolith, yeah.
Yeah, Monolith. I'm sorry, but that's what I'm saying. Like, they might pick and choose, but I feel like all these other ones that everybody's talking about would completely pick and choose, and then kind of tear it apart.
I think it's a group sale, man. I don't think you can split it up, man. When it comes down to it, AT&T, right. You saw what Brian Baker said about their net worth. They don't necessarily have to sell.
Yeah, but you gotta ask yourself this question: why would they even need this fucking $4 billion if they're worth $266 billion?
Because they are hurting.
What does it matter? Exactly, they're hurting.
You have to go to your costs.
They're not worth $266 billion. They're worth jack shit.
You have to go to your costs. Okay, how much does it cost to do all of these things? So let's say they look at the whole WB Interactive and they say, okay, this costs us way more than what we do with our cell phones and our TV stuff and everything else. You know what I'm saying? So then they look at that and they say, okay, we sell it for $4 billion. yes, I mean, we could technically make more money, but when the cost comes into how much it is to develop these games and everything else, which we all know developing costs have went up, it's skyrocketed. That's why we see a lot of games just doing, microtransactions
Season
and
passes,
everything
all
else.
that
You
good
know what I
stuff.
mean?
Yeah.
Because what do they always say when like people get mad about it? They say, "Look, we got to make your new content. We got to make your new stuff that you want to see, and it costs money to make it." And
They say shit's
maybe
not
they're
cheap, man.
and maybe they're looking at it like, okay, cost to actually what we make is probably even, if not less. And then they go and say, you know what? It's not working out. We're not putting out bangers. Like they see, like, this comes out after Last of Us 2. You know what I mean? With a 96 meta. Okay.
Meta who? Meta, what are you talking about? Meta.
I mean, but you can't deny a 96 meta. You just can't.
Yeah, you can't.
I don't know.
It should be at least a 90. I mean,
don't know the thing
we
you're
could say it's
talking
a
about.
90.
Because you don't care about doesn't mean the rest of the community.
But what I'm saying is that you see these games that are coming out, and you say, are we at that caliber? Yes, you got Mortal Kombat. Yes, you have the Lego series. But is it making you the money that they want to make? Is it bringing you the PR and everything else that you want to see?
Are you getting the growth? Are you getting the growth that you wanted from your acquisition?
Exactly. And then we've seen all these failed, IPs throughout the years that they've had also. And it's like, what is the cost? What did it cost them to actually make that game? And we don't know all that. You know what I'm saying? So maybe they're just like, we need to get rid of this. It's too much variables. We don't want to deal with it.
Okay.
I will say this though. I gotta give a shout out to my boy Super G. Because he made a great point. I didn't agree with all of his point, but he did make a great point of saying Xbox needs another face besides the big three. And of course, we know that Fable's coming. But
we already know Fable. Something new, man.
Right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Something new. And his biggest point was saying, because we was talking about Spider-Man, and he was like, man, Batman would be that face, and I totally agree. The thing of it is, though, is that I don't know if WB is going to want to, or well, AT&T is going to want to try to, do a swap meet style and separate and giving stuff in pieces, unless Microsoft will pay extra. And I don't know if they're willing to do that either. That's what makes it so sticky. Or Sony, because I mean, Sony got bread. I mean, they, but if they, because I know Sony would take care of any of those studios that's in WB as well. It's just that
you would have Kojima making the next Mortal Kombat.
No, I have Kojima be making Fear.
Oh no! Don't you dare! Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
I'm just saying though. Somebody else in the chat made a great point. Like Xbox seemed like they have already enough studios.
Yeah.
I mean, they got tons of them, right?
So
15. If you add all of that in there, then they would have a crazy amount of studios.
And Game Pass would be a real seller.
Yeah, Game Pass would be insane. But again, do they want all that overhead? So do they want all that overhead? And I don't think they do.
No.
I think if AT&T is willing to listen to, if they are trying to, hopefully the Reddick thing is true, that they're willing to listen to Phil. I think it's only for just one or two IPs. That's it. Not
the only thing
bunch.
I say,
and I say, and definitely, if it is those like 2 or 3 IPs, it's a must. It's a must to try to go for NetherRealm, for Monolith, and for Rocksteady. Those should be the big 3.
But anybody remember when Phil did that interview and he talked about how he basically sold to have Minecraft bought? I feel like the overhead thing is kind of done with, because we see the Netflix model. Netflix is still here. All right. It hasn't died. I know they're not making money, but they see light at the end of the tunnel somehow. But with gaming, I feel it's even bigger, the light at the end of the tunnel.
I think with theaters seem like to be almost going away at the like the dinosaur, unfortunately, because I love going to the theaters.
Me too.
I think that it's going to be I think it's going to be a situation where Netflix and Hulu and Disney will actually will sustain and just start seeing growth, because if those movies don't start going to theaters, then they got to go somewhere else.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm there.
Yeah.
But go ahead. Yeah. So go ahead.
So that digital thing, the Game Pass, the subscription service, that you took back, he was running Netflix, now he's back at Microsoft. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are all things that I just feel like overhead is not really what they're thinking of. They're thinking of what's the value in the investment. And the value in the investment depends on the licenses, clearly. I mean, we can all sit here and say, what do they get? But if Microsoft drops, an extra $10-20 billion and says, we want all the license agreements, and then we'll figure it out after that. But at least we get them for now.
Damn,
you know what I mean?
Talking 10 billion. Dude, my whole thing is I'm not sure Microsoft is shopping like that right now. I think they are pretty confident. That's the thing,
right? I agree with you, but I don't know if they're willing to come off of that type of bread. I mean, it's a gold mine. It is a damn gold mine right there. It's just that I don't think that they want all of those studios.
If that was the
case,
they
just want a certain amount.
You would have seen them like, in the kind of like talking when it came to Sega and stuff like that, there would have been more rumors and stuff. If they were really kind of like shopping around, if they had their grocery cart and they're looking at studios and stuff, there would have been even heavier kind of like Sega rumors and stuff, because not a lot of people know this. Microsoft does have a company based in Japan. So
they do.
There is that whole, Microsoft can't buy a Japanese studio or whatnot. If they go through that company in Japan, then that's possibly a loophole right there. But I do want to hit the super chat real quick.
Actually, there is no loophole. They can buy a company. You don't have to have a loophole. It was misled.
Oh, it's like an urban legend.
They thought that. Yeah.
Yeah, people just say that because. No, go ahead.
Because I know the Great 180 has been waiting for this. Shout out to Great 180 hitting up that super chat, supporting the show and the channel. He says PS5, the 30 frame box. Oh my goodness, we will get into that, bro.
But people, the only reason why people say that, or they go with that narrative like Xbox can't buy a Japanese studio, is because Xbox hasn't done well in the Japanese market. That's the only reason why they say that. And that's not even the case at all.
And the people that are saying that, most of them don't want them to do better.
It is the case that they don't do well in Japan, but it's not the case that they can't own a Japanese studio.
Yeah,
because I was on the same belief that you had to find a foothold and all that, and then I was informed that that's not the case. So I did some research, and you could buy a Japanese studio right now if they wanted to.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing where you go and say, Sega, what have you done for me lately? And you have, MK11 going out there and selling at $40 at the Aftermath DLC, and the people are buying it like nothing. And that's the thing where I go and say, maybe Microsoft would look at that and say, games as a service, not necessarily like, Fortnite games as a service, but good old-fashioned DLC games as a service might work with a lot of their IPs. And I think that's a different thing because, Sega has come out with great games, but they haven't really done a lot lately. They've come out on Game Pass or on Xbox.
They have IP in their shoebox under their bed that gamers out there would absolutely drool over if they did a reboot or if they brought those things back. Sega
and a reboot and all that costs a lot of money, bot. I'm just saying.
Money bot. I like it. But guys, do you want to keep talking about AT&T and Warner Brothers, or do you want to get into the whole PlayStation 5 reveal? Like, I think you might want to get to the next topic. What do you guys think? Okay.
Yeah, we definitely don't want this to be another TRG. Just saying.
Shots fired.
Alrighty then.
Yo,
while he's over here begging to come on.
I was just gonna put him on blast.
This dude was begging all before the show, man. When you gonna ask me to come on, GRG? Hey, man.
I want to meet you.
I want to. I want to
allegations.
meet that white quota. I want to be there. Okay, come on.
I
man.
want to be.
Wow. Guys, and I will let you know, shout out to the chat. I am gonna lay down the first part of the PlayStation reveal kind of like topic list,
shit.
but then I do got to run to the bathroom. My 16-year-old was hogging the bathroom before the show, and so K Mega, you know the drill. You know the drill with
horrible that you got a weak bladder like that. You like 15 and you got a bladder of a 7-year-old.
Shut up, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Let's get into it.
Dude, you're giving him too much credit. You're making it sound like his balls actually dropped this time around.
Wow,
so
guys,
okay,
you hear this?
So the next topic is talking about the PS5.
Well, no, I'm gonna set it up. I'm gonna
Okay,
go to
okay,
somebody,
okay,
and then
okay,
but I should be back real quick. But
okay, all right.
Here we go. This past week, couple days ago, we got the PlayStation 5 reveal, and now the way we're breaking it down is I want to hear what the panel has to say about the show. Not necessarily the games yet or anything like that. We will get into that as well. But, the last, couple years or whatnot, people have talked about, kind of like the pacing of the show, how it was kind of presented to the people or whatnot. So I figure we would start with that and kind of kind of ease it into the rest of the information. So I'm going to go first real quick when it comes to the show. I actually thought the pacing was really good. When it came to the entire PS5 reveal, we were making fun. I did a live reaction on this channel, and we were making fun of the whole, X square, triangle, circle, kind of transition in between every game and stuff like that. That was one of the things. I actually, at one point in time, thought that those might be free animated themes that they would have for the PS5 when it released. And I part of me still thinks that might be the case, but all in all, there really wasn't a lot of talking. It was a lot about the games. They put the games out there. And when it comes down to it, I like seeing variety. There's people out there that only like one certain type of game, and if the platform doesn't have that one certain type of game, then all of a sudden that platform is trash. I am not that person. I play a wide range of games. They showed a wide range of games, and like I said, the pacing was really good. I think that that's exactly the way I like a show being run. All right, for me personally, I thought they did a really good job with how they presented the show. So I am gonna go to Dark. Dark, dude. Like I said, we're talking about just the show as a whole. We're not going into the games or whatnot. But let us know what you
don't
thought.
want to go into the console, right? At all, too.
No. We're gonna get into that, man. I put the breakdown in the DM on Twitter, and I know all you guys read it. I know you did.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we don't read those things.
But Dark,
that you send us.
share your thoughts on the presentation, pacing, stuff like that, and then we'll swing it to K Mega as well. But the spotlight's on you, Dark, man. What did you think?
I think the presentation was good, but the middle parts where they're going in between each game and they're showing the X and the O and the square and the triangle, that just it bothered me because it's like just show me the fucking trailer. Don't show me this other bullshit I don't care about. I just want to see what the games are, what's coming. That's all I want to see. I get why they were doing it because they were kind of like trying to make it seem like this different type of show, that you've never seen before. That bothered me, but I can look past it. I can move on. I don't, it's fine, but it's still, I think overall the show was just it was good, but since we can't talk about games yet, I'm not really gonna get into that. It was good, but I don't know. I kind of wanted to see a little bit more, I guess. Basically, what it was.
So you wanted it to be 2 hours long, is what you're trying to say?
No, I wanted to see more. I think if they would have taken out those like little transitions in between, we could have seen more stuff. But I think it's because they didn't have enough stuff or not necessarily enough stuff. But I think they didn't have enough like certain things to show that they were like, we're just gonna put these in the middle of each trailer, and it just I feel like it could have been just something. I don't know. I was super excited for it, and I wasn't disappointed at all, but I was also kind of like on a lot of things too, you know. Like, but we're not talking about games yet, so like I can't like talk about that. So,
well, that's why I'm
we'll
breaking it into segments like that, because there are going to be segments that go longer, and there's going to be segments. I want to make sure the chat really gets the full idea of what we thought about the entire reveal, instead of us getting hung up on like one game or something, you know.
I think a lot of people were thinking like I'm cherry picking it here, and it's like no, dude. I know, I saw it too, and no, I'm just basically saying what I didn't like about the show. I think it could have been, you know, there could have been stuff that were, you know, better, and things that, you know, should have been better. Let's just say that.
I mean, everybody is entitled to their opinion. It's a weird world that we live in, where people are like,
it's an opinion.
Your opinion is wrong, man. Your opinion is so absolutely trash. I don't
so stupid. Yeah, even though it's just an opinion. Makes no sense.
All right.
People are retarded.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry. People are. Dude,
it's
people
the PC world.
stupid.
You can't say retarded.
Okay, well, whatever.
You are gonna be shunned on social media.
I don't give a shit.
I don't give a shit.
You know me. I don't care.
Dark is all in today, people.
What he is? This filthy mouth is crazy. What's going on here?
It's like, dude, like I don't care what people say. You know, like if you don't like what I have to say on Twitter, you don't like what I say on the podcast, then don't listen. Don't go on my fucking timeline.
Oh, damn.
Simple as that.
Just to let you guys know, he's not saying don't listen to the show. It's just that tune into the show and just mute it when he starts talking, if that's what you prefer. Okay.
Yeah, just mute me or whatever.
Anything else to add before I move on, Dark?
No, man. I think I'm really getting ready to get into the
he's getting ready to get into the shit right now. Here we go.
Yeah.
Well, K-Mega, as you can see, I am back. You didn't have to take over the reins, although there have been plenty of
now
times.
You got a little bladder like a little.
Dude,
I
feel like you know like when you let the dog out because they had to go to the bathroom and then when they're done, they just start jumping around for no reason. They're like incredibly hyper. That's the way I feel right now. I feel so much better, dude.
Okay. Yeah, that was quick, man. I mean,
dude, it was so quick. It almost seems like he forgot to shake. I'm just saying.
Only twice. Any more than twice. You're playing with it.
A little bit more. Say a couple of droplets. You know what I'm saying? All right.
Hey. Anyway, my plumbing runs fine. Okay, I don't know about you guys, but mine is fine. But anyway. Yo, K-Mega, again, we're just talking about the show as a whole.
Did you even wash your hands?
Yes, what do you think, man? Come on, bro.
I don't know. I mean, it was so fast. I have no idea.
That was quick, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Don't shake. No shaking.
Wow.
Little droplets.
He learned
guys,
I am
not 20 seconds.
I am efficient, okay, is what I am.
Okay.
All right. I used to be a warehouse worker, okay? I do things quickly, all right? It's
He's got lots of kids to watch. He's got to make sure he's ready to roll.
Yeah. Dang. All
Yo, K-Mega.
That's right. He does have 24
kids. Guys, K-Mega. Again, we're just talking about the presentation and the show. Like, we're not getting into the games or anything yet. What did you think about how... Because we waited a long time for this. Like, let's be real here. We waited a long time for this. And there, I think that's also part of the reason why, you know, so many people tuned in as well. Because, you know, like, we knew what the Series X looked like. And there was a lot of people, they're just waiting for this PlayStation information. But what did you think about the presentation, the pacing, stuff like that, bro?
I thought the presentation was fine. I mean, Sony is always good at doing those type of things. It did get a little stale. I have to agree. When it got into the part where they was having the people talk, and it really wasn't gravitating to what the games that they were showing. I mean, when they did show gameplay, which everybody was making a big deal about inside the Xbox, when they finally showed maybe a couple of games of that, I like that aspect of it. But yet, to me, throwing in Jim Ryan every once in a while to say this and that, and then move on, and then show the little letters and squares and stuff like that, a little much. But overall, the presentation I thought was good. I mean, it was smooth. The transition when everything was all right. I don't really have too much to say negative about it. I just, you expect Sony to do a decent job when they presenting stuff. So I thought it was a pretty damn good job.
Nice, brother.
Yeah.
And one thing I will say, negative wise, and I know there's going to be some people in the chat that are going to get their pitchforks and torches ready. The whole 1080p 30 frames per second for the stream was absolute bullshit. Absolute bullshit.
What part?
What happened?
No, I was saying, what part was you talking about?
The entire show was put out there at 1080p 30 frames per second. They didn't do anything more. And I think we figured out why when it comes down to the information that came out afterwards, which we will get to. But when it came down to it, the whole 1080p, and I know people are out there, shout out to Hustle and Motivate, that he was on Crossfire with me yesterday. He said they just wanted to make sure that everybody was going to get a chance to see the show, and that no buffering or anything like that. I do not adhere to that kind of like assumption. All right, I do not think I think there was a different reason for that, but I think it was absolute BS that they decided that they were going to do it 1080p 30 frames per second. But they did tell you, make sure you wear your headphones for that brand new audio. So their reasoning behind the 1080p 30 was, production time or whatnot. But they had enough production time to put in kind of like, the Tempest engine and try to showcase that audio. But they didn't have enough production time to go higher than 1080p 30 frames per second. I believe that is absolute bullshit.
Actually, some games were showed at a 4K 60.
Yeah, but it didn't come off in the show. It was the trailers afterwards.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I
which is so weird. I don't know why they did it like that.
We will get into that. We will. But let's go to our special guest, Dread. Again, Dread. We're just talking about the show as a whole, the presentation, the pacing, length, the amount of talking, stuff like that. What did you think about this PS5 reveal in terms of its presentation?
You want to know about the girth too, or?
Wow.
Well, usually what I do with all these presentations, I take out the brands. I don't look at the brand as Xbox or PlayStation or Nintendo, or even the fact that it's Monolith or anything like that, right? I look at it as what's the presentation itself on the face value. Mm-hmm. So I try to keep it as level-headed as possible when I look at all this. So the presentation wasn't bad to me. Mm-hmm. It wasn't the greatest. What, like you talked about with the other stuff, which we'll talk about later on, I didn't mind that because I understood the situation with the 1080/30. So, but when you look at it overall, I had no issues with the audio. My audio was good to go. And in the middle of Gran Turismo, that's when I was like, oh shit, I don't have my headphones on. So I popped the headphones on. I didn't notice really much difference until I got to Ratchet and Clank, and that's really when I started seeing some stuff. But overall, as a show, I didn't notice a difference to have the headphones on other than one game, So that really didn't impress me except for that one game. Now, when it came to the transitions with the symbols, I didn't care. I looked at it as, okay, this is where one game stops and one game starts, and then I started thinking, okay, well maybe there's something to it, because I had said before, I know it's supposed to be a game show, but I wouldn't put it past them to show a console. The ultimate mic drop. So let's see what happens. But then I started thinking, well, maybe that's a clue to something. But I didn't say nothing like that to be like, oh, I'm on air and this is what I'm saying. So I didn't say it like that. I thought it to myself, like, maybe there's something here more so than a clue. Maybe, it is a clue to something else, but not like a visual clue where you can freeze frame pause the frame and look at it and be like, oh, here's a code here, decipher this. And then if you go to this website and then decipher what the website says, then you go to this physical location and this is your answer. It wasn't anything like that. It was just like, hey, there's something more coming up, but here's your divider in between.
Oh,
you know
okay.
what I mean? So that's the way I was looking at it. It's a divider between, just like when the speakers came out, I wasn't saying, oh, it's this person or that person. I didn't look at it like that. I just looked at it. There's a presentation, someone speaking about something, and then we're on to the next game. So it wasn't every single game like that. So it was only certain spots that they came in to talk about something. And that's the way I looked at it. Okay. So it was game, pause, or game break, whatever. And then you moved on to your next either speaker or your next game that you're watching. And that's the way I looked at it. That's why the flow wasn't bad. It was a good flow. Even the pauses where the speakers were there gave you a good break, so you're not getting overloaded with game after game after game. You kind of had a chance to mentally break down what you just watched and get ready for the next thing. And that was also part of the symbols. That little break gave you, like I said before, where it gave you that, okay, this game ended and now we're moving on to this other one. So you had a chance to process what you're looking at. Because how many times have we seen Xbox just throw out 40 games in 2 minutes, or not even 2 minutes, less than a minute.
And then you try to think about what you saw, and you miss like certain games. Yeah, I got you, bro. I can definitely see that, man.
And that's why I say, I'm looking at it. It doesn't matter if it's PlayStation or Xbox or anything. You look at it as a whole. How did this breakdown come about? When my breakdown is,
it was load screens. Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I see.
That was genius funny right there, by the way.
Yeah, but but that's how I looked at it. So that's why when it comes to the presentation, it was a good presentation. It had a good flow. It had some, your little pauses and breaks and information that had nothing to do with the trailer, but it was about the trailer. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't too bad.
Nice.
I liked it.
Nice, brother. As always, we definitely appreciate your opinion on this show. Yo, damn, Game Over HD said his mind was made up when the moment that Sony announced that they were doing a PS5. Well, dead brother, like dude, it must be really, really hard to live in that type of tunnel where it's just like, I know automatically that's what I'm getting no matter what. Like, dude, that's like a drone life right there, man. I know.
I've been there though. I've been there.
I did the same thing when when Xbox One came out and they were talking about it, and then all of a sudden I was like, with all the information they're giving me, I have to change my mind because this can't be what I thought it was going to be. They are not keeping up with themselves. They're contradicting everything they're saying. So you can't keep that mindset. You have to stay open-minded and see what they're giving you for value.
Yeah,
I guess I'm more old school. It's Sega that Sega had me for a long time.
And what did they do recently? They disappointed everybody.
Well, no, I'm going Saturn to Dreamcast. Like, dude, the only problem I had is I lived up the street from a Blockbuster, so I'd walk down there and I'd see no games there still, and PlayStation's just like taking up 2 aisles almost, and I'm like, well, I need to get a PlayStation.
Looks like I might have made the wrong decision here, and I need to get a PlayStation.
But that's what happens when you get more information. You can make a better idea of what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? When you blindly go in without any information, it's okay to be a fan of something and support it, blindly. But at some point in time, you have to be smart about what you're supporting.
Brother, you are preaching to the choir right now. And there's some people in the chat that believe that people can't do that. And it's like, dude, no, seriously, that every single generation, I look at whatever consoles are coming out, and I start with a clean slate. You know, when it comes down to it, I want to see the features and stuff like that, and to see which console I'm at least getting first when it comes down to it. And you know, they got to give me that information. They got to sell their system to me as a consumer. Both sides need to do that. Or if Nintendo decided that they were going to join the party and release, you know, a system as well, then all three. You know, that's just the way I am. But
yeah, but that's the thing, though. We do that with cars. We do. I mean, we do that with other things, with phones. Okay, so
I'm a Mustang fan, and I absolutely hated when they were only putting V6s in the Mustangs. Like, was it like early '90s or whatnot? I would not buy a Mustang then. It had to be a 5.0 V8. Like, I hated when they put the 4.6 in there.
Those Fox bodies also had a.
Yeah, they had issues. They definitely had issues. Yeah.
But that's the thing, though. You know, when you get in for more information, you're allowed to change your mind. Okay, I'm not saying you have to go one way or the other and then just wholeheartedly go that way. If there's something, let's say you're invested in one console and you shift over to the other one, why did you shift over? Because you found something else that you liked, and you can do that. Yeah, there is no that, and that's what, you know. Sometimes it blows my mind how people stick with, I'm only a Mustang guy, or I'm only a Camaro guy. Well, you know what? What about Nissan? What about Toyota? They got some cool ass cars too.
That new Corvette, brother. Oh my goodness. Yo, shout out to Inferno Lock hitting up that super chat. He said, "Did you talk about the Warner Brothers Studios? Did I come late?" Inferno, when it comes to that topic, yeah, you join late, but the great thing about YouTube is you can always go back and watch the beginning again. So sit back, relax, listen to our topics about the PlayStation reveal, and you can always go back and listen to what we said about the whole AT&T, Warner Brothers, and that whole situation.
Do you want to know a trick? What you do is you start over and you play back the speed at 2x, and eventually you'll catch up to where everybody's at.
Dude, my voice is so high pitched. If you put me at 2x, man, like dogs will start howling. Like,
here's the funny part. Here's the funny part.
Sounds like a chipmunk.
No, actually, it's normal. It's just you're talking really, really fast. But when you come back down to normal, we all sound like we're from the southern drawl. You know, hey, man. It's hysterical.
I got to try that sometime, man. Maybe I'll do that to the Gaming Beyond the Box. Past week's Gaming Beyond the Box. I would love.
That's why sometimes I don't comment right away because I'm playing catch up, and it's like, hey, man, I'm 15 minutes behind y'all. I'm playing catch up, so sometimes I'll be like, oh yeah, da-da-da. Oh wait, that was like 15 minutes ago. Oops, no one's gonna get that. They're gonna be like, dude, where you at, man? We're on another subject.
Nice, but let's get to Crispy real quick, and then from there we can start getting into the games, what they showed and stuff like that. So Crispy, when it comes to the presentation, you know, the timing, you know, the pacing, the transitions, which I like what Dreadpool said in terms of clues, because that turned out to be what it was, because they kept on doing those buttons, because at the end when they were unveiling it, that graphic, like it showed all the buttons at first. I did not think of that. But what do you think about the pacing of the show? You know, they had a lot of games there. What do you think about the show just as a whole, man?
The show was good.
Thank you.
Is it great? No. and I only say this because I felt like I was watching a better production value of an Inside Xbox. Instead of having webcams and all that BS, they actually took the time to, when people talked, which I was surprised of, because I was like, okay, people are talking. Now you have these great graphics that are going on, but you kept kind of repeating them. And I'm like, okay, I get that you have to transition to a different, you know, game or a different set of games. I understand that. But it felt very overwhelming. Like, eventually I'm like, okay, we know what your controller
Crispy,
has.
Me in the live panel, the panel for the live reaction, we basically came to the assumption that Sony was trying to brainwash you. like with the buttons of the PlayStation, like
They were
subliminal
trying to hypnotize
messaging.
you.
Yeah.
They were trying to hypnotize you.
Yeah.
And actually, I've already heard that the DualSense like grip has like the X, Y, triangle, square, circle, all inside of the actual grip, which is pretty funny. But that's where I go and say, like, we get it. Okay, we know the symbols of the PlayStation. I would rather, and it kept making me think like we're gonna see a console every time they did it. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on, Chris. Chris, it was a joke, Chris. A joke, Chris. Go ahead, man.
But that's where it makes me like. I was like, oh, are we gonna see the console? Or are we gonna see the console? And don't get me wrong, we saw the console, so I was happy. I mean, I'm gonna keep my say. I wanted to see the console. They showed the console. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like that is something that meant a lot more than people even realize, because I feel like they kind of been behind. I mean, you're going on 7 months of your competition supposedly showing their console, and you haven't shown yours yet. And then the way they paced it was better than what we've seen from Inside Xbox, because of the production value and how they presented it more like an E3.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
They made you feel like it meant, like, when the people were speaking, it really it made you feel like they were talking to you. You know what I'm saying? And not like looking back at them like, hey, here's my fridge or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, no.
Look at
you
my
know
fridge.
what I'm saying? They made it more serious, and I appreciate that. So in the end, the production of it was very good. We'll get into the games, we'll get into everything else, but the production was on point, and that's what made me give it the same score that I've given a lot of things I've seen. I cannot give it a 10. 10 out of 10, that is bullshit. Unless it's the most perfect thing you've ever seen. You know what I mean?
All right, well, check this out. Yo, Bounty Boom, thank you for hitting up that super chat. He says, like I said last night on Crossfire, stop comparing Inside Xbox to Sony show, because Inside Xbox was not an E3, Sony show was E3. No, yo, Bounty, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Said that.
I think I
just did.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and I definitely understand the frustration, especially when it came to last night on Crossfire. And you're right, but the thing about it was what they marketed for Inside Xbox was gameplay. But in terms of the presentation, dude, you are spot on, Bounty. You are absolutely right, and this is why we are going to games right now. They showed games, and when they showed games, they had the
all right.
They had the standalone DLC for Spider-Man. They had Ratchet and Clank. They had Horizon 2, which I see a lot of people saying Horizon Zero Dawn 2. Guys, you got to stop doing that. The name of the franchise is Horizon. The first game was called Zero Dawn. All right, and I think the second one's called Forbidden West, if I remember properly. All right. So the name of the franchise is Horizon. So Horizon 2. They showed third party. They showed timed exclusives. They showed first party, like I just said. Let's go to Dark, because I know Dark's been waiting for this. Dark's definitely been waiting for this. The games, brother. What did you think about the games that we saw? And like, when it comes down to it, again, a lot of people are talking about. I see them talking about the first party a lot. And when it comes down to it, I even stated this on the live reaction. Take the first party and the console reveal out of it, and you basically had Inside Xbox. But what did you think about the games, man? What were your highlights? What were some of the games that kind of made you scratch your head? What did you think about the variety that was shown? Man, go all out. It's your time, brother.
Yeah, man. I think the games that they showed, I would say probably about 60% of them were ones that I was like, okay, Yeah, that's that looks good. But here's the thing: a lot of people got to differentiate the ones that had the PS Studios, right before them. Those are the only games that are exclusive to the PS5. If they said PS Studios before the trailer, then that means that game was only on PS5 or the PlayStation brand. Anything else after that, like Project Thea, like that game looked good. That game is not on only PS5.
But
That
it
is
was
also going to go
designed
to the Xbox. It's
specifically.
also going to go to the PC. Um,
It was
it is
designed
designed
specifically.
specifically. It is. It is. You're right. It is. It's absolutely designed specifically exclusively for the PlayStation 5, but it's a timed exclusive. It is not a
No.
full exclusive. The
There's a
only
lot
games
of
that
timed
were
exclusives, man.
there were a lot of timed exclusives, which is fine. I mean, even Xbox did that too, believe it or not.
I counted. I think there was like 3 or
There was three. I think there was about 3 or 4 of them that were timed exclusive on
there
the
was like
Xbox side.
10 on PlayStation show.
There were quite a few on PlayStation. Yeah, definitely. I don't agree with timed exclusives. I think timed exclusives is completely ridiculous. I think but I do agree with exclusives because that brings people into the brand. That brings people to want to buy the brand. So um they definitely needed to do a little bit more explaining which games are gonna be only on PlayStation 5, games that are gonna not be exclusive to PS5, um, and maybe not necessarily put it in the show, but apparently I think on PlayStation Blog or something like that they have a list of what's considered to be exclusive to PlayStation and what's considered to be timed exclusive to PlayStation and what was indies. Um, a lot of indies they showed, a lot of ones that I was like, what the fuck is this? Especially Bug Snacks. What the fuck is that?
Just to let you guys know, I didn't
Oh,
put Bug
snacks.
Snacks into this sizzle reel that you're getting of the trailers and stuff
My,
like that. So
I mean, for my nephew, definitely. Like he's gonna love that stuff. But for people like us, no, like not at all. You know, um, Ratchet
Speak
and
for
Clank. They
yourself,
showed.
Dark.
Speak for yourself. You ready for that game, Mega?
Dark's gonna be
Hyped.
playing that game, man.
Hyped.
Yo, he's gonna platinum that shit, yo.
Gran Turismo 7. Who gives a shit? It's
What?
fucking niche. Who gives a crap? Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. That looked fantastic. I was absolutely hyped for it. I can't wait for it. Um, you know, I think Kenna, that one looked kind of cool. That kind of looked like a Pixar game.
Well, they're animation
Something straight
artists
from-
that are behind that.
Yeah.
Like
which was insane. I was just like, when I saw it, I was just like, dude, this looks like a freaking Pixar movie. So that game looks definitely fantastic. I would have to say my favorite game, the game that I want wholeheartedly from the show, would have to be Returnal. I'm
I
sure
thought you were gonna
you
say
probably
Destruction
already knew that.
All-Stars.
I'm sure you already knew that, bot. You know me, dude.
No,
I love that.
I thought you
horror
were all
shit.
in on Destruction All Stars, man. I
You
thought
know,
that game looked
I
awesome.
don't like that stuff.
That game
You
looked
know-
awesome, bro. Come on.
Yeah,
man.
I know you like that stuff. It's like it reminded me of Rocket League. I don't like Rocket League either, so it's like
Oh, you
I
mean
don't
soccer
care.
cars?
Yeah, soccer cards, whatever. I don't give a crap. Those kind of games, I don't care. The devil inside me, or something like that, or little devil inside, or
bro.
something
You
like
need to talk to somebody about that, man.
Talking about the
little devil. I think it's called Little Devil Inside.
Little
yeah,
Devil. Yo, that
Devil
game looks
Inside. We're all
fire.
watching the
that
same
game
show.
looked awesome. That was definitely an indie title that I was like, okay, yeah, I might actually check that one out. there was also what else was there? There was
Stray.
Solar Ash. That
Solar
looked cool.
Ash.
That was another indie that I was like, okay, yeah, I'll definitely check that out. But of course, you know, a lot of those games, like the indie games especially, those are going to Xbox and PC and stuff like that. So it is good for people like us that are either so into Xbox or so into PlayStation to watch these shows, so then they can see, oh well, I actually got to see some of the other games that are coming.
Yes,
I
other
thought
games, the multi-plats, the smaller titles
right,
that they put in
right,
there, like, oh yeah, like if
right,
I get a
exactly.
Series X, I could play that there. That's pretty cool.
Exactly. So I think Ghostwire Tokyo, that looked cool. I was thinking to myself, like, I definitely want to play that.
Am I the only one who didn't like Ghostwire Tokyo?
You probably are, dude.
You are.
Dude, it was so
I think
like
that game.
boxy.
I think that game definitely looks unique to kind of the first person aspect. I think it's definitely going to be it's going to be hard to tell if if it's going to be good or not, because it does seem kind of a little slow in terms of combat wise, but I think it definitely looked cool. It looked really cool.
Oddworld.
Oddworld, no, thank you.
What?
Move on from that. I don't care.
Oh, you're a
side
hater.
scroller. I don't give a shit.
You're a hater.
It's a side scroller. I don't care, dude. What was the other one that I saw that I thought was fantastic?
I don't know. You tell us.
Project Athena looked good. Gosh, what was the other one?
Stray.
There was one. No, Stray. Fuck that game. Get the fuck out of here with that game. No way, dude. If you're a grown ass man and you're fucking playing that game, get the fuck out of here.
He loves dogs. That's what it is.
Yeah, he's a dog lover.
I am more of a dog lover. That is true.
Yeah.
Demon Souls remastered. I was like, hell yes, I'm all in on that.
Did you play and beat the original Demon Souls?
No, I didn't have a PlayStation at the time, so I didn't.
Oh, so you're gonna be getting into it fresh then.
Yeah, no, I didn't. Yeah, no. Yeah. What's the other game? There was another game that I was.
You don't have to go down the whole list, Dark. I'm just saying.
Hey, I told him go all out. I told him go all out, man.
There was another game that I was super hyped, like super excited for. It's
Was
not
it the Capcom
Godfall
game that looked like Kojima's game?
No, it wasn't that one. That looked like shit.
Bloodshot.
No, Deathloop. That was the one that I was like, okay,
Deathloop.
yeah, this
Oh, the one
this
from
looks
Bethesda.
cool.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's a
this
timed
one-
exclusive as well, right?
Exactly,
Yes,
it's a timed
yeah.
exclusive, so it's like a lot of those they really needed to to let people know like what's going to be exclusive to PlayStation.
Why do that? If you can get the masses to believe that all those
No,
games
you're right.
are only coming to PlayStation.
No, you're right.
I
Yeah.
hate the practice. I absolutely hate that practice, and that's like I'm gonna kind of talk about that when we go into like that later topic. But I hate that practice of being mysterious with it, man.
I think for the most part though, the games were just a lot of them looked good as terms of trailer wise. Of course, gameplay, there really wasn't much. I mean, some games showed gameplay, some games didn't at all. It reminisced of Inside Xbox, to be honest. I mean, it was I would give this showing an 8, and I would give freaking Inside Xbox an 8.
Oh,
I think they were both pretty good.
dude,
like
people,
they were.
People are sending memes to your Twitter right now.
Yeah, I know, right?
that.
They're like, man, fuck you, man. You don't know what you're talking about, bro. Okay, whatever, dude. It's my opinion. I don't give a shit. Doesn't matter.
Yo, K Mega, I like Dark tonight, man. He's going in, bro.
He's about that life tonight.
No, dude, I'm just sick and tired of hearing people being like, "Oh, well, PlayStation this, Xbox that." Fuck off. Just get out of here. Like with that shit.
You know what we love about you, Dark, is that you speak what you think is right, and that's all that matters.
Exactly.
Because
I mean, you guys.
You want PlayStation to improve. You love PlayStation. We all know you love PlayStation, but you want them to improve.
Yeah.
And you know
Oh,
what?
this game right
That's
here.
your truth, bro.
This
That's
game
all
right
it is.
here might get me back into Resident Evil.
Oh,
by the
dude,
way,
Resident Evil 8. Yeah, Resident Evil 8. I was like, hell yeah, I'm all for Resident Evil 8. I loved 7. I thought 7 was fantastic. So I'm actually 7 was game of the year for me that year when it came out. So, if 8 does that plus some, which it seems like it's going to, I'm all for Resident Evil 8. And that'll probably be my game of the year, to be honest. If it does well.
Nice, bro. Anything else before I move on to the next panel member?
No, man. I think
No.
I
And if
spoke my piece.
What he's saying in his mind is, if any of you people out there don't like his opinion, you can go f yourself, man. That's what he's saying
Pretty much.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go to Dread real quick. We heard your rundown when it comes to the show presentation. They showed a lot of games, man. What did you think? What were your highlights? What were your kind of like lowlights when it came to the games that were shown? What did you think about the PS5 and its next generation when it comes to the games, man?
Okay, I wrote all these down on some paper, so I went old school with this.
Nice.
So
dude, he did homework for our show. This is beautiful.
It's just, you got to get your mind in perspective, because sometimes you as you're speaking, you forget certain things, so you kind of like gloss over.
And dude, after the show, you're like, I didn't say this, I didn't say that.
Yeah,
no, I know.
Or after you're done, you're like, okay, we're gonna move on to, and it's like, damn it, I didn't finish what I wanted to, but now
if
it's
you're
like,
K-Mega, you'd be like, yo, one more thing.
Yeah.
Or you do one of my things like, what the fuck is that game again? Shit.
Yeah, that too. So I actually had to like simplify some of the stuff, like, because I was going back and forth, going over. I'm like, what is this game again? What was this about? So because some names, like we spoke about earlier, some of these things go by so fast that you kind of forget what they were, even though you know the name. You're like, okay, what was the name associated with? What was that game? Or you remember the gameplay, but you can't remember the name, or not the gameplay, but the game presentation, but you don't remember the name. You're like, that was the one with that giant skeleton that they flew over that looked like really shit. You know what I mean? So you kind of go like that. So that's why I did my notes. So first off, GTA was a what the fuck.
Yeah.
So,
dude.
You know what I mean? You look at it and I'm like, this doesn't look like PS5. And then they finally tell you, no, it's PS4. And it's only for a limited time. It's going to be expanded and enhanced. And it's free at launch. It's like, oh, cool. But wait a second. Free at launch? So it's a limited time thing.
Yo, Dread, here's my reasoning as to why they're putting that there. Because what's going on is, first off, it's a previous generation game with a huge load time. And they want people, when they buy their PS5, to feel like this thing is crazy powerful with their SSD. So they are giving that game, all right, with the launch. So this way, when people go in and try to play it, and that load time is cut down so dramatically to maybe almost nothing, people will be like, oh, damn. That's cool.
But who's got a load time? But who's got a load time? You guys know I run this stuff on an NVMe. So my load time is like minimum.
Okay. They're saying it's going to be quicker than that, man.
And that's on an Xbox One X, an NVMe on an Xbox One X. Okay, so I don't have that load time issue that some of these people are talking about. Some games are built where the NVMe is basically nullified. It doesn't matter how fast of a drive you have or how slow it is. You all don't load in until you all load in.
Oh, damn.
So you're as fast as your slowest person. So even if your internet is slow, you're slow.
He just called me slow, people.
Yes.
But yeah, no, go ahead, man. What else is on your list? Joe?
And then we go to Spider-Man. That was a highlight, even though it's a Lost Legacy style of game. It's disappointing that they took PS4 assets, and I messaged them directly asking if it's going to be, if it was like a Unreal Engine 4, and that's why they're on PS5. They're going to migrate it to Unreal Engine 5. But I have not gotten any confirmation from Insomniac as to if that's why they did it like that, or if it's just a marketing thing, which makes sense. We all hate it. We all don't like it. But if you're going to play on my system, guess what? You're going to have to buy it this way, and this is the only way to do it. So it is what it is. And then Gran Turismo 7, I didn't see as much as I wanted to see. There wasn't enough detail. And we all know racing games, they all look pretty. But, with the hiccup that it had that we all saw after the fact, we'll put it out there.
Pop-ins, baby.
Yeah. And the SSD is supposed to stop that pop-in. I mean, when I'm loading up Division 2, there's virtually no pop-in. In meantime, everybody else on hard drives, they're watching a big old cinder block turn into a police car.
That is true.
This is supposed to fix that. So it's sad that even on this, they didn't catch it and fix it or do something to make sure there was no flaws. Ratchet and Clank, my only issue is it's not realistic enough. I mean, come on now. We want realism, right? No, but that's really where the SSD shined. When they did the teleporting, because everybody's like, oh, wait a second. I don't see where I'm like, teleporting, where you're shifting through and it's automatically loaded.
Well, it's about 2 to 2.5 seconds of load, because when he floats through the air, you see him kind of like tumble in the air.
Right.
That's about 2.5 seconds, which is really impressive, man.
But I'm talking about when you're teleporting on the ground while you're fighting.
That has nothing to do with the SSD.
You notice that because you're in that vantage point, and now you're in the other spot, and you're looking at a different direction.
Dude, Destiny 2 does that with a super for a Warlock, where you pop into that other spot. That has nothing to do with the SSD. The SSD is the purple fractures where you jump into the different dimensions. And with that, it was really impressive, man. Really impressive.
Okay. We can agree to disagree. So, but it's all that's the thing though. It's all the tricks that these devs have learned from the past with slow hard drives. Okay, so with slower CPUs, less powerful GPUs, this is all tricks of the trade that they're putting in, and they haven't really been able to maximize the potential of the new technology. You still got to remember that they still haven't figured all this stuff out. So Project Athia, that's kind of Final Fantasy-esque visuals that look kind of cool. What was it? The Stray Cats? Yeah, whatever.
You like Stray. You're all in.
Yeah, the Stray Cats. Yeah, I'm all in. Let's watch them in concert.
Wow.
Now, when it comes to the Macintosh, the 1980s Macintosh robot heads, we'll have to see more about it. I can't really say anything bad because we really don't know anything. They just showed you the cat running around and a whole bunch of robots. Basically, they didn't do any better than we did.
You're talking about the Playroom game, right? The Astrobots kind of like
No,
Playroom?
I'm talking about Stray, with the one with the cats.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, because the whole world is robots, yeah.
Yeah, they didn't do any better than we did. So,
they're in the same position.
They're all taking synthetic on the side of the sidewalk.
Oh, no. Wow, you really paid
Shooting
attention,
up in the middle
bro.
of the street.
Oh, I'm telling you, man. The 3D audio, I didn't notice anything other than Ratchet and Clank. Like I said, the audio. Returnal looked cool, but there were some times that I was watching it that it could have been current gen stuff. And I know some people are probably hating me on that. Sorry. But
I can see that in the actual gameplay when they cut from the cinematic to the actual gameplay. Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying with that.
But
I mean, even though I'm excited for that game, I agree with you, dude.
Yeah, but see, and that's the thing though. I want to see more about it. Like right now, nah, it's definitely nah, because if you think, how many times do I have to die? This isn't even Souls, where at least it's, I'm fighting up one. Now you're starting over with a new memory. You know what I mean? Like, you're being changed and stuff. So that's kind of the cool part. But it's like, so the world's changing, but am I doing this all over again? So we need to see more. And that's part of the issue with all of these trailers. We need to see more to understand them better. And I know they're a sneak peek. It's our first time seeing them. Destruction All-Stars, soccer cars / what the heck?
Fortnite.
Yo, somebody said soccer cars, Bleeding Edge put together.
Yes, that's what I said the other
Twisted
night.
Metal.
And I started thinking, Twisted Metal, Fusion Frenzy, All of them combined. That's what it seems like. And then Kenna, that was pretty cool. I can't wait to play that one. That had a cameo-esque to it, but yet kind of a Zelda / Recore. So they all have. What was I thinking? They all have homage to other games. So.
Mm-hmm. They all have DNA from previous games.
Yeah, there's influence from other games. There's homage to other games. And then Goodbye Volcano High. I can't wait to play this.
Really?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh my goodness, dude! I was like, you're like the only one.
Actually, I can't wait to get on Xbox Live, and I know I was already told that someone's going to rat me out on it. I can't wait to get on Xbox Live and compare with Randall and see if he played it, 100% of it. So,
that'll be a yes. By the way, he will play it and he will 100% that game, even though he said he wasn't down with that.
Yeah. Well, Barbie, pony, whatever. I didn't say it.
No.
Yes, I did.
Rand Al Barbie. Shout out to Rand Al Barbie. Yeah.
So, now I'm blocked. That's great. So anyway, Oddworld, Soulstorm, we saw that last year. That was 2019 that we saw it at E3. So there was nothing more there other than, he cut his bands off. Why didn't he do that earlier? But I'm still all about that game. So we'll see. It's kind of like a Lemmings. Ghostwire Tokyo, hell yeah. Let's do something scary. That's what I'm looking at it because it seems to be scary. And since we can't get fear, this is the closest thing right now that we can get.
I think he's trying to sell me on it right now with the whole fear thing.
Dude. And it's going to be in 3D right in your face. You're going to be seeing your hands move around. I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't go VR.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't be surprised.
I can definitely see that with the graphic styling. You can definitely see VR in that.
And then you got Jet the Far Shore. Oh my God, that thing looked horrible. This will be one of those games that I would definitely have to be convinced to play. That's the one where the guy was flying a spaceship over the Mythosaur. And then Godfall, I'm gonna say, and I know people hate me for this one, but it looked like it was a downgrade. I didn't see anything great. Even what I watched. Your sword, I mean, by now, you're going to tell me you can't have a cape or a coat flying behind you as you're running around and your sword not going through it. You know what I mean? Your sword is stuck to your back, and I can live with that part, but you're going to be like, oh, here's the next-gen graphics and stuff, but you can't get cloth flowing around a sword, but the sword goes through it like nothing. Like, I mean, you're not impaling the cloth. It just floats through it. It feels like we're playing, back in the PlayStation 1 days when stuff like that would happen. You're playing wrestling, and the hair would flow through your character because he had long hair. No, this is ridiculous in this day and age for these devs.
Dredd expects more, people. He expects more now. Come on.
Yeah, Solar Ash, that's that black hole cartoony thing. Somebody, I forgot what the dev was, but they kept on referencing something. I'm not interested in that one. Hitman, I am definitely interested in, but just like all the Hitman games, I play for a little bit, get so far, and then I drop it. Then Astro's Playroom, that's no. I wouldn't even buy that for my kid. Little Devil Inside, that to me reminds me of like a kitty monster hunter, and I would definitely consider that one.
Yeah, I think the fighting mechanics, they look really kind of like feature rich, man. Like I'm down for that.
It's got a stylized graphic to it. You know what I mean? So it has that claymation, stop motion picture style to it, and a little bit of the humor with the guy in the dropping turds.
Yeah.
And then you got 2K21. Sorry, other than the one bead of sweat, everything that was sweated on his face, on his body, didn't move. It was like spray painted on. Here you go. And that's a pre-alpha build? Come on now. Get out of here with that.
That was an actual player model too from the game. Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, it looked good, but
Mhm.
you're gonna have him sweating when he's playing by himself.
Well,
Was he doing like hot yoga or something in the gym before he started
yes,
throwing some hoops?
Zion Williams. Zion. He is known for hot yoga. By the way, no, I'm just playing. Dude, it's something 2K, and I think K Mega can tell you this. When they show their player models, they're always like sweating like fucking crazy, man. Like,
but here's the thing, though. You're going to show me somebody sweating, right? What's the best commercials you've ever seen with people sweating that look real? Okay, Gatorade, right? When they're sweating, it turns into the color of the drink that they're sweating. Okay, I'm not asking for that. I mean, if they want to do that, by all means, but make it seem like you're beating up sweat. Not that the beads are there painted onto your face like moles, or you have smallpox, or you know what I mean?
yeah, I hear you, brother.
You know, and then you have one little strand of sweat dripping down off the bridge of his nose. Sorry, you know, it's we've already done this. How many years have we done this? It's okay. It's great that you can do that, but did the sweat shine better? Was the ray tracing on the sweat a little bit better? I don't know. But I mean, it just drew you away. I want to see how the players react. You know, bring back double dribble. Let's do that. You know,
wow.
Back from the Nintendo days. Let's bring back double dribble. Maybe they'll do a better game. You know, so now that I'm on this rant, we go to, as K Mega says, bug sacks.
Bug sacks.
And I said it before, and PETA's going to come after me, but it was like vegans on an acid trip.
I'm shaking my head right now.
I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that game for my daughter either. No.
Oh my God, dude.
But it was really cool to see Yoshida come out because it meant something important during the break of the games. Okay, so when he came out and introduced Demon Souls, that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So, and I'm fine with them remaking that one, remastering whichever way it was supposed to be. Because I mean, I don't know which way it went, but it was very realistic. It looked really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, the intro into it, to see Yoshida out there, I was like, oh, okay, well, what's, you know, what are they, you know, and it was like something near and dear to me. I was like, oh, okay, you know, it got me invested.
I was kind of hoping that they were redoing Legacy of Kain, though, because that was a rumor at one point in time.
Oh, dude, bring back Legacy of Kain and Soul Reaver. But that's the thing, though. You know, it got you invested into what's near and dear to his heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, some people didn't like people coming out here and like, oh, let's talk about this game. Well, guess what? Sometimes when they come out and they say something like that, it's important, and it's not just important to them. It's important for you to listen. You know, so that's what they feel, that it's important to them for you to listen. So that's the way I took it, and it was cool. And when it comes to remakes, I still feel, and I'm fine with this one being a remake, okay? But I'm fine with the fact that anything, if it's an OG Xbox game or a PS2 game and older, remake those games. If it was last gen or this gen, do not remake these games. Give it another gen or two before you make them again. You know what I'm saying? Let's when we're in these gens here, let's make some new IPs, but we need to bring it into the past, the old good games. Bring back Siphon Filter. If you're going to remake that game, bring back something like that. You know what I'm saying? Something that we can't play right now without jabbing our eyes out because we can't understand why it's so blocky. You know, because our kids and the next generation coming up, they are so picky, right? Because they didn't know what it was like to grow up with a Game Boy, right? They have a Fire tablet now with games that they can touch. You give them a Game Boy and they're touching the screen and it's like, it's not working. You know what I'm saying?
I can see that too, man.
That's why we need to bring games back like that. Bring back those old games, and that's like Demon Souls is one of those games that's like right there on the edge, and I'm fine with bring it back. Let's get 60 frames per second. Let's get these games where we actually have a chance to see and not be gypped because of the speed.
Yeah, I heard that, K Mega, when you said 60 frames per second.
That was not K Mega.
Oh, that wasn't.
Mm-mm.
Damn, he did a K Mega impersonation there, man. Really, I know K Mega's voice, man. I've been doing this long enough with him. I thought that was K Mega.
Yeah, well, I can change my voice. I'm just saying, baby.
Taters.
Yeah.
I swear, he's the true devil. I'm telling you.
You got Deathloop. Yet again, another one of those that you're going to be repeating. Hopefully I'm not repeating. It was a cool another take on starting over again. And you actually had somebody that you had to avoid from killing you while everybody else was killing you. So it wasn't just everybody in the screen. There was somebody else, another sniper coming at you. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then Village, that looked badass.
Fire.
That was badass. I can't say nothing more about that.
Fire.
We can keep going. Pragmata. I got to see more.
Yeah, they didn't really show.
It was cool. Yeah, they didn't show anything. I mean, they showed a little girl in a robot cat that was not even a robot. It was a hologram cat, but they showed the insides, and it was kind of cool how you saw the skeletal structure. You saw this and that, and next thing you know, you realize that the girl's a robot, or at least you're like, wait a second, she's not a little girl, and what the heck is she doing to that guy, to the Anthem alien astronaut, right?
Yeah, Anthem
like
astronaut.
Anthem.
I like that.
You know, it was like an Anthem head with an astronaut, U.S. astronaut. So when you had that, you're like, okay, okay, and then they're on the moon, and you're like, okay, well, they survived that. What is this game about? You know, so that's why I say you got to.
Well, it's 2022, so we're definitely going to hear about it in the next couple of years. So,
well, hopefully not in the next couple of years. I mean, you know, some of these games we need to have right now, and I know games take years to be developed, but if you're going to show a game like that, you know, it needs to be relative to the time frame, because I don't want to play it during the PS6 era.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, I don't like seeing a game and then waiting around for it for another. You know, I'd rather not know about it.
I'm a little different than
gen.
I am definitely a little different than you. I want to see launch lineups, you know, but I also want to see the future as well. To me, that one right there was the future.
Okay.
And that's the way I look at it.
I can give you that. Yeah, I'll agree with that one. I want to see in the future, but not so far where I'm in the next console after the console we're waiting on.
No.
You know,
only a certain amount. Yeah.
And then the one grand finale, the one that I wanted to go back and grab my Wii controller.
Your Wii controller?
Horizon. Yeah, the Wii controller. You know, the jerking movements.
Oh no. I'm done.
Yes.
I quit, guys.
Aloy.
I retire.
Yes, Aloy, that was very impressive. I like that. And the cool part was when she was underneath the alligators, I thought I was in Maneater. I thought I was a shark getting ready to like avoid the alligators, or should I attack them?
Attack. Definitely attack. But yeah, dude, that was absolutely beautiful. I think that water part was kind of like the in-engine kind of like cinematics that they used from the first one. Like, yeah, that looked really, really good. But then again, what do you expect? Like, they are known for graphically kind of like dropping jaws. When it comes to Horizon Zero Dawn, the graphics weren't what made me stop playing. Let's just put it that way. But
bam.
All right, man. So it was awesome. I think this was a first-time thing. We never had anybody. I don't think we've ever had anybody do homework before coming onto the show. Dread, I appreciate your attention to detail, brother. I really do, man. Like, yeah.
Dude, I got to bring it, man. Right?
Yeah, there you go. Hey, he did it. He did it for you guys in the chat.
You made us all speechless. That's what you did.
All right. Who
was that last night? Or was it tonight?
Yeah.
Well, I saw the beard and I was like, "Oh shit! Look at this guy. Never seen it before." I was like, "Oh no!"
Dredge dropping bangers every night. It started last night, going into tonight, man. Who wants to follow that up? By the way, who wants to go in on their idea of the games for the PS5 reveal?
It really doesn't matter. You could just, this is me and Crispy left, so you just pick.
Okay, we'll go with K Mega. K Mega,
All right.
dude, the games lineup, man. What did you think? Highlights, low points. What's the deal, brother?
All right, so I hope you guys are going ready for some shocking stuff, right? So, okay.
Everybody, strap your seatbelts. There we
Get
go.
ready. Get ready. Get ready.
I hear research just in a different way.
Check it out. I would play 60 to 70% of the games that they shown.
Nice.
I thought that I'm giving my overall thoughts of the show. I give it an 8 out of 10. I thought the show was proper. I'm always going to keep the same energy. I like all different types of games. It doesn't really matter to me. So it doesn't matter who posts it. It's a game that I like. It's a game that I like. So let's go ahead and do a little quick rundown. All right. So of course everybody is clamoring over what is that? The Kena game, and then of course the Horizon Zero Dawn. Those are definitely dope games. The other, what was the other one called? The Project Athena?
Yeah, Athia.
Athia. Yeah. Dope games. Disappointed with Spider-Man. I'm just gonna be real with it. Listen, I you know what I'm saying, it looked cool, and it's great that Miles get a game, but it's not. It's an expansion. Like, I want to see Sony go out and do what Halo 5 did with Locke. Like, I want to see a AAA big banger with a black protagonist. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to see. And
just real quick, K Mega.
Spider-Man's not going to do that. What?
Yo, real quick, when it comes to this, because people out there, they're like, it's its own game. Now, listen, guys. There was 2 years of development. What they're doing is they're using the original Spider-Man PS4 assets, and they're making a smaller game. It's kind of like a small spin-off, kind of like what they did with Uncharted.
It's Lost Legacy.
And Lost Legacy.
It's Lost Legacy, and it's ODST. That's what it is. I mean, you can look at ODST the same way, because ODST was a game that was DLC for Halo 3, but then they went ahead and expanded more to the story, and so they just had it a standalone. But it still doesn't change the fact that it's not a true AAA game. Like, it's not Spider-Man 2, Miles Morales.
It's not a fully developed.
That's my only thing about it. What'd you say?
AAA. It's not a fully developed complete AAA game. Like, they're using assets.
Right.
From the previous game and to build this one, man.
Right, and it's also one of those things where they can quickly get it made, and then they could have people to say, "Oh wow, here we go!" You know, only gonna play PlayStation 5, and then they're gonna say that it's gonna have ray tracing stuff like that on it, some enhancements to it. But disappointed in that. I wanted to see better with that. I know that like people are, they jump down my throat about it, but you know me, I don't care. I'm gonna say how I feel about it, and so I was disappointed in that. Listen, I might be the only one, but I'm kind of hyped for Goodbye Volcano High, man. I want to play it.
Dude, you are the only one. You are the only one. Not even Rand wants to play it.
I want to play it.
Why?
Because it looks interesting. I want to. Now, somebody told me today, like Op told me today, that the person who made the game, that she was out there and said some wild stuff about children or something a couple of years ago, and so I got to find out more information about that. If not, then I don't want to play it. But if it's just for the premise of the game, it's something that I would, something I would get into. Me and show to the wife, something like that, right? So go with it. Resident Evil, right? The Village. I thought it looked amazing. Look, I got Resident Evil 7. It was played about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours into it. Scared the shit out of me. That's when I knew that scary games wasn't for me anymore. But I'm willing to go back to Resident Evil 7 and stream it so people can see my ass streaming it, because I want to beat the game. I really do. I just got to get over it, right? I just got to get over it. But the Village looked dope, so it's got me interested in Resident Evil 7 again.
Can you do it in VR?
Hell no, I'd probably die. Hell no, I just want to just play the game just
no
like I
heart
was.
attack for Mega, man.
No heart attack for me. No heart attack for me, bro. I ain't doing it. But it looked dope. Let's see. Deathloop. We seen it at the Bethesda
Mm-hmm.
thing at E3. Looked dope then, looks cool now. I'll definitely play it. Returnal it's got a with the combat style has a Recore vibe to me
Yeah.
to me when it the way that she jumping around like the chick in Recore. So I'm interested in it. I would play it for sure. Jet the Far Shore, no, not interested. Abe's Odyssey, always was a fan of
Love
Abe's
Oddworld,
games.
man.
What'd you say?
I love Oddworld. I love that world.
Yeah,
Yo.
I like Oddworld. I always liked it. You know what I'm saying? Ever since on PlayStation 1. I love that game.
It looks
So,
like Schmeagles. What you talking about?
you know, I just like those games. Like I like those games. So I mean, I'm cool with that. Solar Ash, I'm actually hyped for that game. That's something that I could definitely get into. It's from the people who made Hyper Light Drifter.
Yeah.
And it's another game too that I played that's got some similarities too. It's the Fury or something like that. I don't know. Really cool game. It's really difficult, but it was cool. Stray, I don't know. I don't care.
No Stray?
I'm a racing fan, so the granddaddy of them all. I got to show love to Gran Turismo, even though that is probably for me is the most disappointing out of the show, because car games are supposed to display what makes you want to get that console. Car games always set that standard, set that bar, and I didn't get that with GT7. I don't know what you guys think, but I didn't get that.
I was waiting to be wowed, and there were certain things
Right.
like there was like the environment creep. You know, like how a lot of closed circuit racers, they have a lot of grass before the wall, and then you have the environment. Like I was impressed with like how close the trees and the bushes were to the racetrack. But when it came for that wow factor, like I thought they were using possibly ray tracing for the reflections on the cars, but I was really underwhelmed with what I saw as a simulation racer with that game, man.
It was disturbing because I'm always pulling for that game. It's the game that got me into sim racing, and I try to hold on, but Sony just doesn't seem to, or the devs themselves just don't give a damn about the game like they used to. I don't know.
I mean, come on.
It's
like
just not the same, man.
Gran Turismo 2 is like the granddaddy of them all for me.
Yes.
Like it's
GT,
probably,
the very first one, all the way to when they got the 4.
No, two with the
great.
double disc, bro. Like that dude, that game enveloped me, bro.
No, I mean, well, that's for you. I'm talking about just all the GTs, GT1 to GT4. Absolutely phenomenal. Best racers that you could ever play. Oh, you got some stuff to read, Bot. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Yo, First super chat I got to is from the Great 180. He says, Horizon Zero Dawn 2. Dude, I'm just going to say, Horizon 2 is 30 frames. How can this be? They cannot make a game running 60. And brother, I definitely want to get to that as well. I hear what you're saying. I'm scrolling right now. Where's the other ones at? All right. So shout out to Failed Pyromancer hitting up that super chat. That Volcano High game seems like a spin-off from the final episode of the old TV show Dinosaurs, the meteor falling and wiping out the dinosaurs. Oh, damn, that that could be the climax of that game right there, bro. The Friendly Neighborhood Blue Shell coming back for a second week. Good to see you, brother. Hitting up that super chat. He said for Xbot448, did Sony save gaming from the evil Microsoft with their show? More seriously, I like some of the games in the Sony show. Hopefully Xbox brings it this July. Thanks for the podcast. No, thank you, brother. Thank you for showing up and supporting the show. Dude, definitely appreciate it. And no, Sony didn't save gaming from evil Microsoft. Good Microsoft might save gaming from evil Microsoft at this point in time. And I think they are going to bring it in July. Dude, again, thank you so much. And I think we are up to date, brother.
Okay, all right. So let me go back. Hitman 3, yeah, I'll definitely play that. Pragmata, don't know enough about it. I thought it was a Kojima game right after when I first seen it, and I was like, oh, okay, here we go with the weird stuff. Cats, guts being shown. Lord have mercy. I don't know what's happening here. right? The Astros Playroom, cute little game. I'm not mad at anybody.
It's
want
going
to
to
play.
be in the PS5 when people
Yeah,
get
yeah,
it.
and it's coming out at launch. That's smart. Demon Souls, not my genre. I don't care about those games like that. But I am happy that they're doing that. If they're going to do remakes, it's just like what Dredd said. I am all for those type of remakes, not something that is
Like possibly
that came out.
Bloodborne.
Yeah. Bring something that's ages, like you said, Legacy of Kain or whatever. That's what we need when we want remasters. We want remasters and remakes, not something that's recent. The Destruction All Stars. Look, I'm a huge Bleeding Edge fan. I'm all about that. I keep that same energy. I'll play that shit. It
That
might
shit
not be
look
as
hot,
good as
man.
Bleeding Edge.
Dude,
It might not
graphically you
be as
look
good
good
as
too.
Bleeding Edge, but it looks fun. I'd play that. I'd rock that. Um, GTA, I'm tired of seeing it. I wish it would just go away, even though it's they just keep throwing it in our face. Ratchet and Clank was the best game in the show, in my opinion, because Horizon Zero Dawn looks fantastic, but of course it's ways out. Ratchet and Clank was the best looking game that PlayStation
That was my
showed, in my
highlight.
opinion. And let's see, NBA 2K. I'm still gonna cop it. You know I am about basketball. Go OKC Thunder. But that trailer was very lackluster. I was not excited about it at all.
Dude, I was hoping to
what
see the
hell was going
game
on?
in action.
Yeah,
man.
like show the game. Like it seemed like it was rushed. They just had something. Boom, boom, boom. Let's get it out there. Let's do that. Let's
I have a
let's
feeling
whatever.
you're going to see the game in July.
That's what I was going to say, because Xbox has been doing a lot of stuff with
Yes,
NBA
sir.
2K. So I think that's where we're going to see the real deal. And then Godfall was probably my second most disappointing showing.
Did you see it on the PC gaming show today?
Yeah, I was watching it, but I was doing GRG Extra, so I missed it. But I caught the very end of the what's called. But I was hoping that it would look better on there. Did it look better?
It did look better. It did look better, but it is what we thought it is. Like it is what we thought it was. Basically, it is a looter slasher. I wouldn't be surprised if it's $30 or free to play. But for if it's a free to play, I have no problem jumping in and trying it out, man.
Oh yeah, no. If it's priced accordingly, I'll definitely look into it or whatever. But I gotta watch some gameplay. I gotta watch some streams or something. I'm not gonna just commit myself. Oh, no, because that doesn't look impressive.
Not game of the year though.
Oh, absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? Stans will definitely not talk about that game. As a matter of fact, I don't see him saying anything about that game.
I feel really bad the people who were championing that game at one point in time.
Oh man, that's just what they do. But anyway, Ghostwire looks dope.
What?
It looks dope. Now, graphically, it doesn't match what I was thinking when I seen it at Bethesda at the Bethesda show event last year, but it reminds me of a game that was on Sega CD that I always loved. And this is more shocking, because I know Stan's that's in the chat is like, what the hell, Mega sound like? What's going on? Is he drunk? No. This is the thing. This game might be the game to make me jump over to play VR, because it reminds me of a game that was on Sega CD called Supreme Warrior. I love that game. That was one of my favorite games on Sega CD, and with the way that the hands and stuff move, it gets that vibe. I would try that game in VR if they did it in VR. That would be the first game that's got my attention for VR. Not Apex, not any of the other bullshit. This is the one right here. So I'm you know what I'm saying. So that's when, and then of course, Bug Snacks, baby. That's got my wife. That's got my wife calling. That's just got my wife. She can play the shit out of this. So therefore, I would have to purchase it. I would have.
You're gonna have to pop some acid first before you start playing that game and see where it takes you, bro.
Well, absolutely. It's somebody that was high as hell, and so therefore, I think the only way to play it is if you're high. However you get high, I don't know. That's your business, but that's the only way that you can play this game.
You get white girl wasted, man.
Yeah, but no, I'd play that shit. I would play that shit. So like I said, I give Sony show 8 out of 10. I gave but is it better than Inside Xbox to me? Absolutely not. That's why I gave Xbox a 9 out of 10. I just thought when they just jumped off right off the bat with Bright Memory, just to set the tone, like this is what we got. Boom. This is that was hot. That was hot. Not saying that that Sony show wasn't good, because I thought it was. It's just, to me, it was just, there was just too many games that I was expecting to be really dope, and they let me down. GT was the one that really let me down. It broke my heart, man. It broke my heart. I expected so much better from that game. But that's my shit right there.
All right, I got you, brother. And we're gonna go right to Crispy, because then we got the console reveal right after that. So Crispy, when it comes to the games, man, what were your thoughts? What were your high points? What were your low points, bro?
I'm not breaking down every game, people. I'm just telling you right now. Okay? I'm not going to do it to you guys. All right?
I was quick, though. I was quick.
Yo, you were quick. You were speed
well,
reading,
you
bro.
both were so quick. Yeah, let's put quotation marks up there. Just saying. But in general,
that's shade, man.
So Crispy didn't do his homework.
He didn't.
Right.
No, that's what he's saying.
Dude, I don't need to do my homework. Number one, I saw a lot of games that I've seen from Xbox before. Okay, a lot of cartooniness in between, a bunch of bangers, which I'm not going to deny. I mean, Horizon Zero Dawn 2 got me interested. I've always said, like, Horizon Zero Dawn is always a game.
Horizon 2.
Forbidden West, whatever you want to call it by, okay?
Dude, I'm correcting everybody,
but there's
man.
still, it let people, Horizon 2, Forbidden West. Okay, let's do it that way. But I see that game and I say, wow, it looked great. And that's where I had a problem, is that I would go and, like, some of these cartoony, quote unquote, games looked really good in certain points, and then all of a sudden turned really cartoony. And I'm like, am I losing my freaking mind? That was the one thing I had a problem with. But Horizon 2 looked absolutely incredible. Even Demon Souls, like, I was like, I am not a Souls player, but holy shit, this game looked really good. It is a lot of trailers. There's, not a lot else to see, but it still looked better than, I would even thought, especially being an old game. So clearly they've done something with it. The biggest one that I was like, I played this when I was a kid, Ratchet and Clank. I'm like, is this the same game? What the hell? Like that game, I was just sitting there staring at my TV like, holy shit, you're just teleporting and you're facing all these different, like, enemies. And it was incredible for me to experience that, more of the beginning of the whole thing. And, Deathloop reminded me of, a lot of different games with a Sin City vibe. If you ever watched Sin City, the movie, actually a great movie. Very, very, very different. You have to enjoy those type of weird, thought process with the black and white, with the color. And it was really cool to see. I'm kind of mad that, it's at least a timed exclusive on PlayStation, because I felt like it was like a Bulletstorm / a lot of other games, involved with a live, die, repeat type mentality, which is pretty cool. In general, my biggest disappointment would probably be Gran Turismo 7. I saw a out of place car as they're driving down the road, and I felt like I was watching, all the outside graphics and everything else look like a 360 game, and the car looked like, a true, Xbox One X or PlayStation.
The inside was detailed, but I can kind of see what you're saying with the outside of it.
It really looked bland. I'm not saying that, I believe it's in development, and that's Polyphony's problem is that they continue to push graphics, but I mean, don't show it then. You know what I'm saying? Like, just don't show it, because, you go towards the end and you see Horizon Zero Dawn and you're like, wow, that game looks amazing in the water and all the structures and everything. You can see it. And I felt like the whole presentation itself was very, very all over the place, which I'm kind of used to, because I've seen it with inside Xboxes and all this other shit. Like they go all over the place. And that's where I go and say, like, dude, there's 14 games that are considered cartoony. Okay. like Stray, like I love cats. I'm a cat. I have 2 cats. They do play as a cat in like it feels like a cyberpunk-esque, I wouldn't say, exactly, but cyberpunk-esque universe would be kind of cool because we don't really play as animals ever. You know what I'm saying? So for that to be the main character, if that's the case, that would be pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? If you have like special powers and you're like, everything else is like an AI or, just a robot or half an AI or, that's where I go and say cyberpunk. Like you have things, your head is a robot, but this cat is actually the only real thing in the entire universe. That's pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? So
I can dig it.
And it would be interesting. Like, not saying that, any of us would like it, but I think that some people would like it. And I think the way they were going was pretty cool that they showed, the feels of it. And that's where I go and say, like, you have to enjoy what you want to enjoy. And I feel like it's on par with what I saw from Inside Xbox. The only thing that I saw from Inside Xbox was a lot of realistic new IPs. And I feel if we're going to keep that same narrative, we have to realize that you saw a lot of games from Inside Xbox on May, which was a few second party, a lot of third party that you didn't see on PlayStation. I think they're competing with each other like they should. And we have to keep the same narrative. Like, dude, they didn't show more than, I think, maybe one cartoony game on the May 7th show.
Well, see,
so...
Yo, real quick, Crispy, when it comes to that narrative, when it comes to like cartoony games versus realistic and stuff like that, what you got to realize here is that cartoony narrative was created on the PlayStation extremist side. So I don't think we necessarily have to keep that narrative, all right? I'm not going to keep something that was built up and generated on an extremist side when it comes down to it. Like, I like the variety. I like the variety from that show and the third party showing, which, again, yo, shout out to Bounty out there. I don't feel like we can compare that Inside Xbox to this kind of like E3 digital showing that Sony put out. What I'm looking, if I'm going to compare those two, I'm going to take out the first party that we saw on the PS5 reveal. I'm going to take out the console reveal, and then I'm going to see what else is left over. And with what else is left over, I'm like, yo, they're pretty comparable. They pretty much kind of like stand together on that. I'm not in the camp of we need to keep that narrative going, because that narrative was built up, was created on the extremist side, man.
And I agree with you. And the thing is, like, you see games like Pragmata, like, I'm like, what the hell is this? You know what I mean? Am I tripping?
Yeah.
What's going on here? You know what I mean? Like, and you have holograms and stuff like that. I felt like I was watching a more interesting Death Stranding to me, because at least they're interacting with you, in the actual environment. Not necessarily that's what's actually going to happen, because, the problem I also had is that there's not a lot of, when's these games going to release? You know what I mean? Like, there's not a lot of that. And that's where I go and say, like, I understand that we have to see the future. I get it totally. But I've seen this on PlayStation before, where all of a sudden some of these games that we're interested in are going to come out years later if they're not developed by somebody else. And it's or if, PlayStation's not supporting them. Like, I think Deathloop we'll probably see very soon. You know what I mean? So it's a hard thing to, grasp, because I feel like for the most part, Xbox, what they showed on May, really, they said, okay, these games are coming out in a period of time. Some haven't really said that, but there's at least a good handful, if not, 2 handfuls of games that said, okay, we have a launch window. Obviously, we have a lot of stuff going on in the world, so let's not hold them to it. And I think that goes fair for both consoles. You know what I'm saying? And maybe that's the reason why they didn't really put release dates on anything. But
Sony's kind of known for being vague with release dates, not putting them on and stuff like that.
But we have to give them, if you're going to keep the same type of energy, you got to give them a pass. Okay, you have to, because in general, it's a hard time right now. We got so many things going on. We have what some people feel like America's falling apart and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like we have to keep the same energy and say, okay, you deserve a pass. I wish there was, we saw a few, and you see a few, and then you go and say, okay, well, what do I expect in the next couple of years? And there's not much to say about that. Now, hypothetically, a couple months down the road, we could say Horizon Zero Dawn is coming out, next year in February or March.
Horizon Zero Dawn, I think, is going to come out early next year. Like my people that I talked to,
not that early, not even close.
I've heard it's pretty far into development, man. So
Horizon 2.
Yeah, see, he got me saying
whatever, dude. Whatever.
I doubt that. No, seriously,
it's like saying Gears or Gears of War. Like, no,
Gears.
We can do whatever we want.
It's Gears, and I'm glad they changed it to Gears. But yeah. Crispy, anything else on that? Because what I got to do is I'm gonna blend the final kind of like two topics together. And I think you're going to want to get into that. But is there anything else in terms of the game-wise that you want to approach? And I just want to point out one thing. You did not list all the games, yet you still took the same amount of time as anybody who did. I just want to throw it out there, bro.
Okay, sure.
Yeah,
sure.
And I got to hit up that super chat real quick. Phil Pyromancer one more time. He said, cartoony narrative was created by Phil Spencer. Brother, we are friends on Twitter. Send me a DM where he started that whole thing about cartoony games within the library or whatnot. Let me know that was created by him and not a response to what the community was saying, because that narrative was built up on the extremist side of things.
By stands, that was not.
You see what I'm saying? So why do we need to keep? We don't need to keep that narrative.
The only thing Phil said was that he liked that one game that was
Good events.
Well, Phil, just send me in a DM on Twitter. I'll definitely look it over, and if I have to make any corrections on this channel, brother, I will. But
the same energy can be said about PlayStation showed 85% cartoony looking games. So why are we still talking about this?
See, I wouldn't even call them cartoony. I call them stylized. Ooh, there's only one game that I've seen so far that I could consider cartoony, and that would be Volcano High. Literally cartoony.
Right, because it's got a cartoon.
Everything else is stylized. Okay, so maybe it's got more of a kid atmosphere or something to it. Even the snacks, whatever, bug snacks, that's stylized. That's not really cartoony.
Okay, all right, that's where I draw the line.
Oh, speaking of bug snacks, I showed that to my wife and I said, I know this is screaming you right now. And she just kind of frowned at me. It's like, no, it's not. So.
I thought you knew me.
All right. So, Crispy, anything else on the games, brother, that you would like to add?
We're good, dude. I don't want to go on all day.
All right. So what I got to do here?
Because you don't got them SSDs.
Oh, see, this is what we're gonna do here, because I want to hear what you guys think about the design of the PS5, the look of it. But with that as well, it has come to a lot of people's attention. Digital Foundry came out, and you guys know how I feel about Digital Foundry. But when it comes down to it, the evidence that has been shown. And kind of like the information that Digital Foundry has come out with shows some really peculiar things with the PS5 as well. Certain things like when it came to Gran Turismo and Ratchet and Clank. Now, Sony's main marketing is their SSD with the incredibly fast and loading in assets and, no pop-ins, no load times or whatnot. But when it came to Gran Turismo and Ratchet and Clank, which you guys already know, Ratchet and Clank, I said, was the highlight. I absolutely love what they're doing with that game. But there was texture pop-in when it came to Ratchet and Clank, and the evidence is out there. You guys can go check it out for yourself. There was pop-ins when it came to assets in Gran Turismo as well, when it came to lighting going into tunnels, when it came into trees going out of tunnels and whatnot. And this is a key thing here because Sony's main marketing is about that SSD and the IO throughput, that we weren't going to have to deal with any of this stuff anymore. Not only that, a lot of the games are actually targeting 30 frames per second. Now, my thought process on that is, when it comes down to it, I haven't seen Sony, in terms of their marketing, say that 60 frames is the standard. So I'm not going to necessarily hold them to that railroad track right there. But as a community, it seems like the community has come out and said 4K 60 needs to be the standard when these new systems are dropping. And I don't see the community standing behind their words right now when it comes to certain things being shown in the PlayStation 5 reveal. So, when it comes down to it, Dark has been incredibly quiet. It has been a while. Dark, first off, what do you think about the look of the console? Me personally, I don't like it. I don't like all the little kind of like points and stuff like that that could get caught on clothing as people are walking by your entertainment system. The thing is dramatically big as well. I don't think a lot of people realize how much space that's going to take up, either vertically going into a tower or when it's sitting down on its side. That is a massive machine. But what do you think about the look, and what do you think about this information coming out where a lot of the Sony developers are actually aiming their games for 30 frames per second? If they are hitting 60 frames per second, they're doing a more dynamic resolution, because the community, I think the community spoke here and said 40K 60 should be the standard. What do you think, bro?
Anybody want to do his voice?
Is he gone?
Yeah, he's gone, bro.
You need to read the super chat.
All right, yeah. Shout out to the friendly neighborhood Blue Shell again. It's good to have you back, bro. He said 4K mega, 60 frames per second, or death. Do you agree?
Look, I've been on this stance for a long time. The people that were screaming that the 60 frames per second of death, they're quiet, and now they're over here accepting what I've been saying for the longest time. Like, let devs make the game. They're going to be the games are still going to be 30 frames per second. It's not going to change. It's just the reality of it. And so, I find it funny, like nobody's out here trying to say, look, well, hey, I was wrong. We have to accept it, because that was the biggest stance. Once they was talking about Valhalla, it was all about 60 frames or death. That was their logo. That was their sign. There was this and that. And like I've been saying, if it's a racer, fighter, shooter, sports games, those should be 60. If they're going to make big open world games, then there's no big deal about it being 30 frames per second, because we've been playing those games like that. If you wanted to then you need to go ahead and build you a super high-end PC. That's all I can say on that. I mean, we'll see what Xbox is going to do with some of those things, but it's never been that big of a deal for me. I care more about visuals when it comes to single player experiences, and I never pick the performance mode. I always pick the other mode. So hopefully they can give people options. That's all I can say.
Nice. Now, I did forget, Dark Optimus, he had to leave, I'd say about a little over a half hour ago. If he stayed later, shout out to Dark for hanging out with us again. Like, I love having him on every week, with the rest of the family on this panel. But I think Blue Shell kind of directed it right towards K-Mega with that super chat. So, K-Mega, I got to ask you the design and then all the shenanigans afterwards, man. I have so many people, even right now, still hitting up the same Twitter, the tweets that I put out there about the pop-in, so much kind of like damage control and stuff like that. What do you think about, first off, Sony marketing as that SSD with no pop-in, no load times, all that good stuff, and then seeing what we saw, the evidence that we saw, and them aiming for 30 frames per second when the gaming community, I think, spoke as a whole, saying 4K 60 should be the standard, man. So you got a lot on your plate, man. What do you think here? Yeah.
I'll be as brief as I possibly can. This is the thing, right? It's going to the whole 30 frames per second situation. Just deal with it. This is what's going to happen maybe when we get further into the generation, um, they'll be hitting those marks of where there'll be certain games they'll get there to 60. But if they're making new experiences, I don't see that ever changing going in the future. I just don't. It's just when we're making these games, they're really complex. 30 frames is if that's what devs look at it, because they know where they want their games to be. And I understand that other gamers out there, they're like, oh man, we're paying this much money for this, but I, it, it's just reality for console gamers, and even for some PC gamers, because there's I'm looking at the PC show and today, and I'm looking at all these games that they had, and I'm just like, damn. Normally, you would think of that they would be catering to showing all these big, crazy, wonderful, high graphical games, and what you get is games that's more touted for people who have lesser, uh, not as expensive PCs. It's
Cheaper
crazy. So
PCs, man.
you just gotta look at that. I mean, that's
Less
just
capable.
reality. So um so that I already made my point about the 30 frames per second. The console itself, it's better looking than what I thought. Because I was ripping it because I told you it was going to have the same color palette as the controller.
Mm-hmm.
And so it came out to look sleeker than what I thought. It does look like a modem. But that thing is, like you said, it's gigantic. And that's where I'm going to see where the energy is when it comes to the media. Because remember, they was going after the OG Xbox Fat, the one, not the OG Xbox, but the X1 Fat.
The VCR.
Yeah, the VCR, the toaster oven, all that stuff, right? And the one big thing was that in Japan, they were saying that thing is too big to put on our shelves. What do you think that the PlayStation 5 is going to be? Like, if you try to set that thing on its side, that thing is good. It ain't going to even fit in some people's cubbyhole space. So that thing most likely is going to have to be standing up. And if people got TVs hanging on the wall, they might have to rechange that, because that thing is going to be it's so much higher than the Series X. It's like that thing might be up there up to your TV. It's gigantic. The thing is huge. So I want to see what the energy is on that. I will say that I was, because I knew that they was going to put that blue light in there, but thank God it was dim. Because that was the thing I was afraid of, was what that blue light going to be distracting when I'm playing games. Because normally when you play games, nobody's caring about the console itself.
No.
So but that blue light was the thing that threw me off. Like, I'm like, yeah, you have the white, you have the black, you got that blue light. Is that shit going to be? So thank goodness that it's dim. Like I said, it's better looking than what I thought. And then what was the last point? The other point that you said?
I think you pretty much covered it. Like I said, when it comes down to it, Sony's main marketing was the SSD. I've gotten a lot of hate on Twitter, a lot of excuses and stuff like that. They're like, well, the game is still in development, and I'm trying to tell people here, when it comes to pop-ins and stuff, if the main target
with the pop-in answer, no, like I already said that earlier. Like, no, that's a disappointment. Like, card games are the showcase of what you do. When you wanna advertise your new console, so people be like, "Whoa, this is crazy." GT didn't do that at all.
Now one thing, K-Mega, just real quick. I just want to bounce this off of somebody to hear kind of like what you think about this. Now, again, a lot of people are telling me, well, the game is still in development. Now, what do you think about this? I'm saying that if this console is marketed in such a way where it's talking about no pop-ins, no load times, like they're really pushing their SSD and stuff, even though the game is in even early development, alpha, stuff like that, wouldn't they have it coded to whereas it would be taking full advantage of the SSD right away, because that is supposedly their heart, that is their main thing. So is it too far-fetched for me to say that even if it is alpha development, they should have this up and running in such a way that they are already touting their hardware's main capability? that there's no pop-in, but they're going to go in and add more textures and stuff over time because they already got the foundation kind of like set for the game. There should be no pop-ins even in an earlier version of that game and its trailer for the unveiling of what the next generation is going to look like. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong at all. You're 100% right. That's the thing. That game, everybody is expecting that GT7 is going to be a launch title. So that game is not that far away from being. I know that I don't think we've seen a date come from it, but that's usually the expectation when you see GT going into a new generation with Sony. Now Sony could push it back or whatever, but no, it was whoever let that slide and didn't pay attention to it was that was a fail. And whoever from that studio decided to show that and think that was cool, that was proper, like nobody was going to pay attention to that. As much people are so detailed into stuff, that is a damn shame. GT, like I said, was the most disappointing on that show. That was the most disappointing for me because I care about that game so much. And for them just to kind of just throw that shit in as though it's second nature. They've been doing that here lately with they did that with Drive Club and they did it with GT Sport. They didn't even have it on the show floor at all. Well, on their show when they did have the last E3, they didn't even have it. They didn't even talk about it. They showed that on a show that came out before E3 a couple of years ago. So I just don't know what the situation is with them. Maybe they're not getting along, but that was really telling to me. It was really shocking.
All right, I got you, brother. And yo, shout out to Blue Shell. Couple more times hitting up that super chat. Thank you so much, brother. He says, with the new CPUs, I believe there should be a 60 frames per second mode. If it was the Jaguars, I would agree with you. I just have to vote with my dollar, and I hope other gamers do the same. If not, so be it. That is basically Blue Shell's stance. And dude, I totally agree with you. When it comes down to it, we have gotten a huge leap when it comes to the CPU, and I agree with you, man. That should be the standard. When it comes to third party, I don't think third party can kind of go in and I don't think either Sony or Microsoft can go in and really say this is what we want done. But when it comes to the first party, and that's what I'm talking about here, is the first party, because not only is it Gran Turismo, but in Ratchet and Clank there was texture pop in as well. During kind of like the more kind of like rocky scene up on the sides of the rocks, there was texture pop in, and normally to me it's not that big of a deal. But when Sony is marketing the system the way that they are, and touting things like no pop-ins and no load times and stuff like that, when you see pop-ins and stuff, that is an issue, because that is the soul of their marketing. That is what they're touting. That is the reason why you want this PS5 over any other console. But you saw evidence that it's still there. Yo, shout out to 108 Dragons hitting up that super chat. Brother, I hope you're ready for golf tomorrow. I hope Sir X-Man is ready as well, because I definitely want to play. But he says, the narrative, 30 versus 60 frames per second. Most games require 60. Fighters, raiders, racers, first-person shooters, 60 is a must. I have said this over and over again. These are the facts. Now, brother, I'm there with you, man. Especially now since we got off those anemic Jaguar cores and everything like that. There is no excuse there. There is none. All right? And when it comes down to it, I'm not picking at Sony. Sony is marketing this system a certain way. And if I see evidence that what they're talking about could possibly be smoke and mirrors to the gamer and the consumer out there, I am going to point it out, so this way you guys are aware of that. All right, that's what I'm doing. But
that's their biggest problem, Bot. They don't want to talk about, they don't like to hear anything that's constructive. If it is, that's they don't want to hear about a complaint. That's the thing that bothers me about PlayStation.
But we could complain
fans.
about Xbox all
We
day.
can play about Xbox. They can sit there and listen to bullshit talking about cartoony games when we just sit there and watch that show that showed so many of those, or how Dredd would call them, artistic looking games
Dread.
that show 80, you know what I'm saying, 85% of those games were artistic, but yet, you know, they can listen to that bullshit all the time. But when people are doing just saying the truth, you act like you people are frauds and stuff. Come on, man, get your head out your ass and stop being a coward, man. Just tell the truth, man.
Yeah, dude,
Jeez,
yo,
jeez, stop doing that.
If you prefer PlayStation, then you pointed out to try to make that ecosystem, that platform better. You want to make sure when it comes down to it, because I lived through this entire generation, and people dog the shit out of Xbox for a lot of things, but when it came down to it, the whole smoke and mirrors aspect is something I was kind of like keeping my eye on when it came to this PlayStation PS5 reveal, because Sony has done quite a few things. Watch Dogs was supposed to be 1080p and 60 frames per second on the PS4. Stuff like that. Yo, that's one of the things I don't like about Sony. One of the things I don't like about Microsoft and Xbox is their need to listen to absolutely everybody. And their marketing. Their marketing this generation has been absolutely horrible. But people will forget about that. They will forget about the times that I called out Phil Spencer when it came to VR. People will forget about the times where I talked about Xbox and their mismarketing when it came to Inside Xbox. The last Inside Xbox. People will forget about that and try to call me a fanboy because I'm trying to say something constructive, something to make the gamers out there aware of when it comes to Sony and what they're marketing and what they showed with the PS5. That's exactly what I'm doing. But now, let's go to our special guest. Yo, follow that up, Dredd. Yo.
All right, you ready?
What it's the design and then that whole shenanigans.
We're gonna start with a proverb from 1562.
Oh, damn.
As deep drinketh the goose as the gander. Okay? Basically, what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Yes.
Both ways, man. We got to play it equally. We got to be constructive equally. So now on the visual of the console, I liked it. Okay? I just don't like white. I like black consoles. Okay? But because it is white, while we were talking today and I was listening to everybody talking, it just dawned on me. It's a big console, right? It's bigger than the Series 1 or Series X. And, it's really huge. So
dude, it's bigger than the PS3.
Yes, it's like the biggest thing. I mean, the next biggest thing to that would be one of the tower on wheels PCs. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So turn it on its side, get a projector, and then project it on the side of it. You're good to go.
Oh, damn.
There you go. Now, seriously, I liked it. I was thinking if they take off the fan blades at the very top on either side, paint it all black, you could turn it into a specialty Darth Vader helmet console. You know what I mean?
Wow,
I
dude.
saw.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Just go with the curve of the inside where the fans are. Cut off the two blades on the outside. Paint it all black. There you go. The other thing would be, if you seen the mock-up of the Spider-Man mock-up that they did?
Yeah.
That would be cool. I would be cool with that too. Really, I don't know why it's a color issue, but I mean, it looks cool. It looks futuristic. It looks sleek. It goes with the controller that we saw. So it makes sense to pair those together. But yes, it does look like a router. It does look like a fan. It does look like, just like the Series 1, or I'm sorry, the Series X looks like a refrigerator or a mini fridge, depending on how you look at it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we all have jokes about what they look like, but in seriousness, it doesn't look that bad, So for everybody to be hating on it or loving on it, it's just your opinion.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be trashing it just because it's the opposite. So, where else were we at?
The evidence of pop-ins when it comes to the PS5.
And this is where that proverb actually stands to the test of time. Okay, if you're going to be complaining that Xbox doesn't have 60 frame games, or if Assassin's Creed, which is a third party, is 30 frames per second, you better be complaining about everything else too. You can't, even as an Xbox guy, you shouldn't be complaining about it if you're not getting it. If they designed it that way, it's the developer's artistic work. Okay, so you got to remember, they may have put in more physics, they may have put in more assets that require it to be dropped down to 30 frames per second, even though you have a more capable CPU, a more capable GPU, and a more capable SSD. The more you put in there, okay, you've got more capabilities, so now you can put more in. Well, now that you put more in there, it's still a new system. You haven't figured out all the little tweaks and quirks and everything that it can do. So you're going to have issues like that. So if they can't manage to hit 60, at least they're trying to hit 30. Do we want another Superman 64 where we're barely hitting 15? You know what I mean?
Yeah, for real.
So we need to make sure that we're holding them all accountable. But at the same time, if they can't do it because of the way that they built their game, then it is what it is. You can't say, oh, they failed. They just, something with the system that they can't get to unify together to make the game the way they want it. We want 60 frames per second. Yeah. We want more. Yeah. Why not? I mean, but at least we're getting 30. So we got to keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
That maybe it might be the technology that they're using, not in the hardware, but in their software. Okay, so it might not be the system, or maybe it is. We don't know. So we can't just nail one to the cross and the other one give them a pass.
Exactly, brother. And just real quick, I got to hit up these super chats. Yo, shout out to Humble Beast hitting up that super chat. Thank you for the support, brother. He says PS5 has to be 30 frames per second to keep up with the graphic fidelity of the Series X 60 frames per second games. Series X is the true generational leap. No pop-in velocity, hashtag no pop-in velocity architecture, hashtag Calvinism, Martin Luther quote. Yo, brother, huge shout out to you, man. Like, you and Dredd, I think you guys need to be on a live show together. Yo, you got Proverbs, with Dredd, you're coming in with Calvinism and Martin Luther quotes. Like, yo, dude, amazing. And I think there was one more. Yes, yo.
There's two more, look like.
Do you have them? Because I can't find them right now, man.
Some name Avis. Did you get that one?
Not yet.
Okay, it says Digital Foundry said they didn't see any signs of VRS. What evidence is there of true RDNA2 type in the PS5? VRS, machine learning, etc.
I mean, that's a good question. When it comes to variable rate shading, I don't think Sony's first party is using it. If it's there, they're deciding not to use it, or it might not be there. But that is a very good question that hopefully over time, before these consoles do come out, we get more evidence going either way. But yeah, that's a great question. And I think I got the other one, K Mega, 108 Dragon. My brother Lemon, he says Sony showed game trailers, but what no one will say is we still don't know anything about back compat, and do the games from PS4 get a graphical boost or enhancements, whereas any PS5 feature info. Facts. Now, brother, supposedly they're working on 4,000 games right now just to be backwards compatible. They're testing them out and stuff like that. When it comes to enhancements, the last thing we heard were the majority of 100 titles when it comes to PS4, but that's all we've heard so far. So, more information on that is definitely kind of like craved when it comes to the community, man. You are spot on right there, brother. But yeah, okay, Dredd, is there anything else when it comes to, I think you tackled the design. I'm glad you like it. Me, personally, I think it was it's more of an attempt to look futuristic that I don't think pulled it off, in my opinion. And then the size of it is just, people talk about the rectangle cube, but the footprint on that rectangle cube is a lot smaller. Even when you stand the PS5 up, the base of it is equal. The actual stand is equal to the size of the Series X. So,
but would you rather have the stainless steel urinal pot that they have at the hospital?
Dude, if I had,
I'm just asking a question. I mean, we saw what they did with the heat. The way that they built this, it looks like, how the Xbox One X has a fan that's like the graphics cards, where they blow up the side and they blow out to the side of the fan, right? So it looks like they've done that on both sides of the CPU board, your circuit board. So it looks like they're doing that and up. So maybe that's why they had to do it, because there's so much that they got to control compared to what it used to look like. So unfortunately, we don't know just yet. There's still a lot of half truths that they've given us, like the BC. They said, oh yeah, we're going to do BC, and then they said it's going to be the top 100 popular. And then they said they're going to do the whole library where everybody took it from PS1 on to PS4. You know what I mean? They haven't validated exactly what they're doing. Are they using VRS? Are they using this? Are they using that? They haven't really given us all the information. They gave us specs. They gave us information, but there's a lot of stuff. And this is both camps, okay? Both camps detail that their consoles can do. Mm. So that's why, it sucks to see everybody they grab one thing and then they run with it and they take out their narrative, because this backs up my narrative. Well, it doesn't really fully back up your narrative. It doesn't back up anything. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, it makes both sides look like idiots. So we need to make sure that we hold them accountable to give us the proper information. Yeah. When they bend the truth, we're taking it for 100% fact, but they bent the truth. Okay, they misled us. Both of them are doing it. Mm-hmm. We need to know everything 100% all the way.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, brother. When it comes down to it, the consumers, and in this situation, the community of gamers, like, you got to hold the companies accountable. As soon as companies realize they can get away with something, they will try it again and again, and they will try to increase it, and they will try to find that line in the sand where the consumers are like, you know what, we're not buying your shit. Like, they want to creep right up to that point. They want to be as popular as possible to get as much revenue as possible, but to also get away with as much as possible, and we can't let that happen. Shout out to Infernal Lock hitting up that super chat. He says, no fanboy shit. 30 frames per second first party, 60 frames per second third party. Dude, I would actually reverse those around, unless you're saying that's what Sony's gonna do, and I really hope not. But dude, I would expect 60 on first party and 30 on third party if that's what is going down. Shout out to Harry Balls. Let me say that again. Shout out to Harry Balls, hitting up that super chat. He says, why wasn't the new Call of Duty shown at the event? Brother, the only thing I can think of off the top of my head is Sony will have another showcase at some point in time. Like, Sony, PlayStation and Xbox have been playing this kind of like Cold War when it comes to price. And I think they're kind of keeping certain things kind of like in the background, waiting until the right time to do their price. And with their price, they probably going to have other games that they are going to show as well. And I'm not sure if Activision is doing their own show either. So that
PlayStation's going to have another. They held I think 5 games back.
Okay.
From what I've heard.
From rumors and stuff like that. Nothing that's been announced, but supposedly there are more games, more information to come. So, Crispy, we get to you, man. You get you get to bang this out, and then we get to do our plugs and whatnot. So, Crispy, when it comes down to it, I'm really interested to hear your thoughts on the design, whether you like it or not. And then again, with the whole pop-in situation, 30 frames per second, I need you to chime in on that, man, and kind of like share your thoughts on what's going on there, man.
Well, I just want to shout out to the over 100 people that are still here after almost 3 hours. I appreciate
it's a 3-hour tour. We're changing the name to Gilligan's Island.
That's good. That's good. I like that. But in general, what I have to say is I was extremely disappointed. Look, you're going to do 1080p on a stream. I totally get it. I do. You have tons of different games going in there. I understand that. But you can't tell us if anything's running at a higher frames per second or anything like that. We've seen it time and time again. If you don't tell us, we're going to speculate. And I'm going to speculate right now. I believe, for the most part, PlayStation 5 is not capable of doing more than 60 frames per second. And here's why I do. Because a company like Codemasters, who makes Dirt 5, said we're going to run our game at 120 frames per second at the beginning of the May event. That was the beginning of it. And everybody ignored it. Okay? But Codemasters and Dirt series in general, they are top-notch racing games. They are.
Yeah, rally racing.
I mean, and if you don't like that, that's fine. I understand that.
I just put that out there for the people who might not know about the Dirt franchise who are watching right now. It's a rally.
The Dirt franchise has always pushed the limits they possibly can. And I feel like, PlayStation, if they can do it, they need to say it. Because I've been playing at 60 FPS for a long time on Gears 5. Okay, I brought it to Gears. But in all seriousness, you can tell. Like, I don't have to look at the character. And I feel like a lot of people just, continue to look at what's going on, not the sides of what's going on. And I feel like that's why I got a lot of hate, because I said The Last of Us 2 didn't look as good as I thought it would, because I felt like I was seeing pop-ins and checkering and all these other things on the side of it, because I'm watching a trailer or gameplay. But I feel like every time PlayStation's putting gameplay, like Gran Turismo 7, they're putting gameplay out there, I see a lot of these things. And I don't know if it's just a stream, because we are clearly in unprecedented times, and I understand that. But it's very strange to me that I only see this on certain games. And even Ghost of Tsushima looked 10 times better than what I've seen lately. And even my friend who has a PlayStation 4 Pro, who has enjoyed it, he's like, dude, I'm getting the Series X, because I don't see this when you're playing games on your Xbox One X. And I'm like, but it's a stream. He's like, I don't care. Like, how can they not, stream it in 4K? Like, yes, you have trailers. So they selected certain parts or did whatever the hell they wanted on certain games. And that's where I go and say, I wanted a full on, the whole stream on 4K. That's all I wanted. And I couldn't find it. And I waited 2 hours, man. And like, maybe it's up there now, but I don't think it is, because I don't think they can do it. And if you're at 1080p, you should be able to at least stream it at 60 frames per second. I'm sorry, especially if it's uploaded. I don't see it. And you keep saying 30 frames. I didn't see all the shit I saw, because I look at the sides. I look at how it's loading in. Like, I want to see what I'm going to experience, because I look at those things. And people could hate me for it. That's fine. But I look at the smaller parts of a game more than the bigger ones, like the character, like how they're fighting and everything else. And I see those things and I say, that's not for me, because it's going to take my my attention away from the actual character.
The little imperfections kind of catch you, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that any of these games are a bad game. And that's where I go and say, and I looked at what they brought to the PlayStation 5, and this thing, as far as volume, from what the scaling is involved from pictures is 600 cubic inches, and Xbox Series X is like 400 less cubic inches, or somewhere around there. So it's at the least 100 cubic inches smaller. And don't get me wrong, it's totally different. Two different consoles. But we haven't seen renderings of, the PlayStation 5 sideways compared to all the other PlayStations. But I'm going to tell you right now, PlayStation 2 looked huge. Xbox One original looked huge. You know what I mean? And this thing dwarfs it.
Dwarfs them all, bro.
You know? And I was like, holy shit. Like, dude, I would rather have a square console, rectangular but square on the bottom console that I could place next to my entertainment center that's completely black. You know what I mean? That basically blends in. It looks like an Echo Dot, or you know what I mean? Like just one of those things that are just sitting there. You know what I mean? Or a PlayStation console that, let's say my cat just rubs against, or, your kid, just like bumps into, and that shit falls over. And then you have, all these,
it's those
parts.
It's those little things on the corner that come out that really kind of bug me. To be really honest with you, when it's all said and done, like, walking by it and having it get hooked on my clothes. I'm a baggy clothes person, man. You got
those Jinko jeans, bro. What you
Jinkos, baby.
But in all seriousness, like that's what concerns me. Like if this thing falls over, is it gonna break? Also, I see a lot of air movement, and I feel like rather than going to the intercooled system, as I like to call it, because we already experienced it in the One X, I feel like they went the cheaper route. And I feel like, you're not only going to hear what it does, but you're also going to experience it, because as dust collects in there, you're going to have to deal with that. Or you're going to have to replace the console. And don't get me wrong. I have said this about other consoles before, especially in PlayStation, but this one has like taken to another realm. Like basically, if you look at the stand, it is making sure that the bottom of it, which has more air coming through of it, is sitting up above. Yeah. And even when you place it on its side, if you have the one with the actual disk drive, it's sitting up above. And I feel like, and I'm going to tell this to any person that's day one PlayStation 5, make sure you have airflow around it. And make sure you have a good investment in end dust. I'm just telling you.
Just clear the deck.
Get a 3-year warranty.
Yeah,
from wherever you get it at.
Not even just that, but like let's be serious for a second. We've all had problems. Like, dude, freaking Elite Controller 1 had major problems with it.
Yeah.
Okay? And the Elite Controller 2, I haven't had the problems that some people still have with the Elite. They had the Elite Controller 1.
Bricks.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't have that problem. Like I bought this. It's lasted longer than any Elite one I've had. They've made some great changes. But what I'm saying is that I see like this huge area of air to move through, and I understand it, but that's not good, because no matter what you do, dust is going to collect. You know what I'm saying? And that's where it gets a little like, like they're going to clean out your PlayStation or do this, like, because we all know that, like, Xbox is like Red Ring of Death. Here's a new console eventually. It took me twice to send it back, but they sent me a new console.
It took me twice.
Brand new. And then when that brand new one sent back, and I sent it back one more time, they sent me a check, and I bought the Splinter Cell Conviction Elite. Okay, because they sent me a check, and at that point in time, the Splinter Cell Elite was the same price as what I paid, and that's where I go and say I don't hear that from anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't hear PlayStation doing those things, and I feel like it's just there's so much air volume going around that console, the whole thing almost. You know what I mean? Besides the back, but the whole like it's basically like you're staring at it, and you can see that it's raised up when it's standing up. And you can see that they have to have the air volume going all the way through. That's why they stand it up.
They definitely need the air. You can tell from the size and how it's made. And the funny thing about that is, and I know they test these consoles, so I'm not saying there is for sure going to be an issue. But with having those points coming out and having the vents kind of like dug into the system all the way around, when you have a solid mass next to like your air vents, that mass itself collects heat, making that whole thing warmer, and eventually also making the air warmer as well. I'm not all in that they're not gonna have issues. I'm not all in that this is gonna be the quietest PlayStation. Like, the design to me does not say that. Now, when it comes to the Series X, because everybody loves comparisons here, when it comes to the Series X, do I absolutely love the design? No, I don't. Like, when I got excited when they showed it, it was just the fact that they were showing it. I didn't get excited for how it looked, all right? It did not hook me. But what it was the functionality behind it. Like, when they explained why they made it the way that they did, I was like, all right, well, that makes sense, because they're trying to make this sucker as powerful as they can for a certain price point. And with them having this design where the air is coming up, now I understood why they did it. When it comes to the PS5, it feels like they were trying to make it aesthetically pleasing, and to me, I'm like, you know what? When it comes down to it, like I'm hundreds of dollars here, function over form. You see what I'm saying?
I mean, Bot, let's be honest for a second. I mean, Mark Cerny already told us this was going to happen at the beginning of his conference. Okay, they are committed to having a form factor, console looking thing like what we're used to, and they clearly showed it. I mean, we could sit here and say that it's revolutionary. It looks futuristic. It looks like I seen out of Star Trek, but
Too crispy. Now I get that whole saying how the Series X eats monsters for breakfast, because the PS5 is a fucking monster, dude. Like, now I see what they were saying with that.
How did I just get that out of you?
You guys forgot about another factor too. I wonder if the media is going to address, will customers be confused for PlayStation now having two different SKUs?
See, I said the same thing. Why would they do that if people are so confused?
Right. Like, I mean, PlayStation's got to be smarter than Xbox, right? So why would they do this? Because they're going to confuse the customer base.
Yeah. The other thing is I have an issue is the fact that it's a $20 drive that the rumor is they're going to charge you an extra $100 to have versus not having. So that's an $80 profit for nothing.
Really? That much?
If they do
That's
a five,
the
rumor. Let's say they do 500 and 400. Okay. Yeah. The other rumor is that they would put a bigger SSD in one of them, in the PlayStation SAD edition,
or Sade edition, as Brett would say. Yeah.
So
the bad.
So let's say they do that, then they would be the same price, but at the same time, it's a $20 drive. So if they don't do it that way, and it's $100 difference, they're just charging you an extra $80 just so you can have that drive.
I
think don't care.
I think the main difference is the disk drive. Like it was said, from what I heard, everything else on the inside of both systems is identical. The only difference is the disk drive, and if they are going to charge $100 more for the disk drive, that's absolutely ridiculous.
Okay, but what's the solution for the SSD real quick? Like what's the solution? because we know the solution for the Series X. Okay, like let's say you have.
Well, we don't
you have
know about
too
the.
much.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, man.
Let's say you don't. You have 20, 30 games that you want to install, but you have an old HDD. You know what I mean? An old regular hard drive. All right. And you're gonna have to transfer, because Xbox already clarified this. You're gonna have to transfer it to the SSD, and basically you're gonna have to uninstall a game.
Not on Xbox One games. You can use the traditional hard drive, but you're gonna have to deal with load times and all that good stuff. If you want it to load up quicker and all that stuff, then you transfer it to the SSD. When it comes to the Series X games, the games that come out after, with the Series X and afterwards, you're going to have to load them into the SSD to play them. That's exactly
and what have we all been seeing and people have been talking about is the SSD, which is clearly better than the SSD that Series X has. But what is their solution?
They haven't said. And that's what I'm saying. We still don't know all the information that we've been asking for.
Yeah. And unfortunately,
we see... I'm sorry, but we see a USB-C port and we see a USB 3 port, okay? We see those, but they haven't said anything. And the USB-C port does not necessarily mean it's actually USB-C speeds, which it would be technically USB 3.1 Gen 2 by 2, because it's 10 gigabytes up and down at the same time, where USB-C, the bigger connector, it's the same information that you can use on the small one, but it's not by 2. Okay, so it's Gen 2, which does 10 gigabits per second, but it's only one-way traffic. Like right now, our stuff on both consoles are doing traffic one way, and then it stops, and then it goes back the other way. So that's where the SSDs currently are limited when it comes to the speeds, because of where they're at. Now, they didn't say anything about the USB-C. Okay, so when you look at USB-C, that could just be a connector. It could still be Gen 2, not Gen 2 by 2.
Dude,
I'm sorry, I went a little technical, but
no. That
there's a lot of misinformation and people run with stuff.
I absolutely love that. Like, when it comes down to it, Dread, the information that you do bring out here, so it's definitely it needs to get out there. People need to hear this. They need to know exactly what they're possibly investing in when it comes to the Series X, when it comes to the PlayStation 5, when it comes to the Ouya 3 that will be out next year. I'm just playing, people.
Stadia!
But guys, we can sit here and we can talk about this forever. I think it's a good time to wind it down, man. We're about to break records when it comes to this podcast. I do want to shout out Bounty Boom, hitting up that super chat one more time, brother. I did not forget about you. He said, great show. Like the Saturday entertainment. Brother, we love the fact that you are here enjoying this podcast. Trust me, man. Huge shout out to the chat. Guys, like I said, we're about to break records here in terms of time. I did graduate from the Mooch School of Podcasting. So, every once in a while, especially when it comes to big topics, you might get a mini marathon over here, man. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Dread, like a 40-year-old with a comb over, we got to get those plugs in. And I just want to go and talk to Dread real quick. Dread, again, thank you so much for coming on, man. You're dropping proverbs. You're getting technical. All the stuff I love that I saw you do in other shows before your first time here, and you just bring it over here. Brother, it is always a blast to talk games with you, man. We got to have you on again. Like I said, you're an extended part of this family, whether you like it or not. We're adopting you no matter what, man. You can go kicking and screaming, or you can come with us willingly, man. But why don't you let people know, where they can go to talk games with you, all that good stuff, and anything else you want to announce, you want to talk about. Now is your chance, brother.
I want to say hi, Mamacita Snaps.
she's probably baking.
She's probably already sleeping.
She's burning them cookies, man.
Oh, no, don't burn the cookies. So basically, I want to thank everybody that hung out for this amount of time. I know there was a lot of information. but I'm glad we can keep it entertaining for you, informative, and get our opinions out there, and also listen to everybody going through the chat with their opinions. It's important that we listen to each other, not not blindly, but open-mindedly. Okay, so we need to do that. So now you can find me on Twitter as Dreadpool, and the O's are actually zeros. YouTube, Mixer, Gamertag, and my Stadia is Dreadpool, all letters, all caps.
Nice. Are you and the other 4 people enjoying Stadia, by the way? The other...
Yeah, I'm actually getting those free games using the Google some sort of survey that I do. I get free money for answering a survey, and I have yet to pay for any of those games. I have yet to pay for, other than the initial payment of getting the controller and the Ultra Cast, whatever they called it, the Ultra Chromecast, whatever. Yeah. So when I got the Founders Edition, that's the only thing I paid up front. But other than that, everything else has been free for me. So all my monthly games, yeah. So I'm going to be enjoying quite a few games still. I've tried them out. It's not as well crafted as xCloud. I'll tell you that. It works and it does good. They still have their bugs. They are still trying to figure it out, and it's a shame. But the good thing is,
they're giving you free shit, man.
I'm getting free stuff, man. It's awesome.
That's the good thing. While they're trying to iron everything out, they're giving you free stuff, man. That's the way to keep you kind of like involved. That is a good business decision. I gotta shout out Bounty Boom one more time, and dude, this really hits me right in the feels right here. He says, "Xbot, you're the only reason why I listen to Crossfire, brother. Thank you so much for the support, and you are one of the reasons why I'm still on Crossfire. Like, people don't realize, I feel like I bring common sense to that show at certain points when common sense might not be talked about a lot on that show, and I do it for the people out there who do realize where I'm coming from, and they can see the common sense in my comments and the things I try to say on that show. So thank you so much, brother. I definitely appreciate that. Dread, again, I hope you will be on. It was a crazy week, and I am so glad that you kind of reached out to me as a reminder of what's going on. Otherwise, my usual promos and stuff would have been even later than normal. Dude, you looked out for me. I really do appreciate that, dude.
Well, you can't do it too soon because you got other stuff going on, but we got to make sure that we don't forget this stuff that's coming up.
Yeah, definitely, brother.
I appreciate you guys having me on, man. Fun night.
Yo, let's go to Crispy. Crispy, you didn't go through a list of games, but you went as long as the people who did, and I think that's what people are gonna leave the show thinking, man. Nah, Crispy, as always, man, it is awesome to have you on here every week. You are a part of other shows and stuff like that as well that you got to let people know about, and you got to let people know where they can go to talk games, whether Xbox Live Party, Twitter. You got to let them know this stuff, man.
Dude, Dread and K Mega still here. This is going on a 3-hour podcast. This is awesome.
Podcast.
It's awesome.
Well over.
I love you both. Like, and Bot, you always bring the heat. You always got something to say.
I always got something to say. I never shut up, man.
But in all seriousness, it's at Crispy Bomb on Twitter. Crispy Bomb 28, Xbox Live. I've had people hit me up like, "What's your Xbox Live?" Hit me up, dude. I don't have the greatest gamer score in the world. That's fine. I deal with it. I love Gears. Sorry. Casual. Yes, casual. There we go. Been playing PlayStation longer than some people.
Oh, damn.
But Tuesday night, Retro Renegade, 7 p.m. and Breakfast with Boom, 10 a.m. Friday. And you can always find me here on the next podcast.
There you go, brother. Nice. Now, K Mega, it is good to have you back, brother. When it comes down to it, you were the first person I contacted. If there's somebody out there, first person I contacted when like thinking of this show and stuff like that. And man, you have hung with me through thick, through thin. It's been an awesome ride that continues to roll, man. We're still rolling. You got GRG over there on Mixer, tearing it up over there. You know, getting people accustomed to the GRG style and way of things. You got to let people know about that. Your YouTube channel and where people can go to talk games, bro.
Nice, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, hopefully nobody else will come up with any type of crazy shenanigans again, saying that, you know, they had to have me to come on. They had to beg you to have me be a part of the next podcast.
He even said beg.
He said beg. He said I had to beg. Get you on, K Mega. You don't understand. You don't know the truth. I'm like, damn. Whoa. Okay. Anyway, good shit though. Yeah, man. Check out the GRG podcast, man. This is like a job because we went over a little bit 3 hours last night, and then like bots acted a damn fool. Now we well over this, and so and then I did a GRG extra with just a couple of it was Slayer and Op to talk about a little bit of the situation that was going on with PlayStation 5 because we were really heavy last night on the Warner Brothers situation, which it made a lot of sense. It was a great show. Again, you know, GRG is fun. We like to have fun. It ain't about drama. We just like to have fun. Just passionate people that love games. It's a hobby. So come check us out on Mixer. Again, just check me out when I'm out here on Mixer as well because I'll be doing something with my boy, the Don. You know what I'm saying? Like I said last night to Don, I'm saying it to you. Y'all two need to work that shit out. Give each other a contact. Y'all boys, y'all did that to me with me and 100. I'm doing it to you too. Y'all boys, we family. That's what we do. Figure that shit out. Anyway, so I can get my boy back on here. And then after that, yeah, so I'm going to be streaming something here a little bit later. And then Sunday night, go ahead and check us out for Sunday Night Fight. He made an intro for us. So that'll be something that we'll kick off when we do it. And most likely we'll get in there. We'll probably be playing Soul Calibur first. So I'm going to get my head beat by Vamp. That's a tough ass chick on them fighting games, bro. Yeah, I'm just telling you. If you want to see K Mega's ass get beat by a girl, that's what's to watch.
You gotta tune in for that, people. You gotta tune in for that.
Vamp, she whoops most of our ass, but it's good when we get her back. But yeah, check us out there, and then of course on Twitter at KMega4 and the YouTube channel, which will be back up live again. I'm uploading GRG right now, so right after the show go off, it should be ready to go. And I'll be out of YouTube hell on the 23rd of this month. So finally I could do live shows again over there, but GRG will still stay live on Mixer. So anyway, I know there's a lot to be said, but thank you guys. Sub and follow everybody. And if any one of you white gentlemen want to come on to GRG, please, we still have to meet our white quota. I will blissfully appreciate it. Let me know and hit me up.
He needs 2 white people for some white on white crime on GRG.
Might happen soon. Sooner rather than later.
So man, peace, guys. Thank you.
Nice. And again, huge shout out to the chat. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. The support is absolutely tremendous. The channel is growing, the show is growing, even though we are one of the longest running podcasts in this community, and it's all because of you guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us every Saturday. We will continue to try to do things to improve the show, to get better. And it's all because you guys. You guys, you give us the inspiration to do so. Thank you guys so much. It is Saturday night. The Gamers Got a Game, people. We gotta
don't forget about Devin the Gamer. How can I do that? We got a Devin the Gamer coming up. I gotta upload it. It's gonna be ready to go. Hopefully tomorrow.
The Devin the Gamer needs to be like the logo needs to be like a blurry picture of Bigfoot, but it says Devin the Gamer on it.
Whatever.
But thank you guys so much. Gamers Got a Game. We got to get the controllers in our hands. I got to actually eat dinner because I didn't do that yet.
Yeah, me too.
But I am going to end the show the way I do every week. We will see you guys next Saturday for the next podcast. Have a great weekend, everybody.
French fried taters.
Fred, see you on my space.
Shout out to Fred. Pornhub.
Oh.